Bennington Show. I am Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington. I'm Ron Bennington.
What's that song from?
Whenever I hear it, I think of Reality Bites, because that's the song they use when they take her documentary cut and turn it into an in-your-face, like MTV reality show.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you brought that up, because they basically ripped off that fucking MTV reality show with their idea.
Right.
And then they go, look how shitty our idea was.
Right.
What was the name of that show?
The Real World.
Real World, okay?
Yeah.
So her thing was she wanted to be more of a docu.
Yeah, she wanted a documentary about her life, which is like you're your own subject, I guess.
And you and your friends, and what it's like just graduating from some college in Houston.
Yeah.
Partying on the roof.
Grunge and everything.
You got to remember, man, we grew up on breakfast cereals and cartoons. So did everybody. There's nothing edgy about you.
You've reached the winter of our discontent.
Enough. Your life has been so fucking easy. Your life has been nothing but great.
So every time I hear that Social Distortion song, I just think of like that cut and then being like, pizza!
Pizza!
Like, it's all about pizza! And she's like, what happened to my vision?
First of all, you're like 23 or 24, and you're producing a TV show. You know when you get to do your vision after you've done 3 or 4 bad shows already?
Right.
Then it can be about you.
Right.
And how bad you feel because your really attractive boyfriend isn't nice to you all the time.
Yeah. Troy Dyer.
Troy Dyer covered a song and you ran out of the place. Like you took it personal. He didn't write that song.
No, he didn't. But he performed it well, but that is not his song.
Yeah, you don't have to run out and go, oh, he's talking about me.
Hey, That's My Bike is the name of his band.
So edgy and weird. Now, here's the thing. I remember it was years before, like 7 years before, but St. Elmo's Fire was the same movie. Yeah. Kids on the Edge. Their time, you know. And one of the kids wrote a column, and it was literally called something like The Meaning of Life. And it was on the front page of the fucking Washington Post.
How?
You're 65 before you get a column that could maybe be on the 50th fucking page, not the front page. Things I've noticed while I'm walking around with my long coat on.
So stop complaining, Elena. This is what happens.
My life is hard because I want to bang my best friend's fucking hot chick. Shut up, everybody that fucking makes movies.
I will say, though, when Ethan Hawke came in, I was so gaga for him. I was so gaga. But it was hard not to sit here and just be like, that's Troy Dyer.
The story of my life. He's got a new movie. I think it's coming out this weekend. And he's like a farmer in Nova Scotia who's with this quirky chick who makes art, and people start to show up. And Leslie told me it's the best thing that he's ever done, which that's a big jump because he's done some great stuff.
Yes, he's done all the Midnight Sunset.
Midnight at the Oasis. Midnight at the Sunsets.
Midnight at the Sunsets and Boyhood.
Yeah. Boyhood, which some people say, what is this, a fucking home movie? I'm like, kind of. It's great. It's great because of that. Who was I just reading? Somebody the other day said, there's no such thing as movies anymore. It's done. And we're just having these TV shows.
It's just the beloved series.
Yeah, you're not going to go out to the movies in the future. I mean, you're going to go out when you put on, I'm going to guess, VR glasses. I'm just going to call it. What happened to VR? It's a technology that they told us was exploding.
Yes.
And, Facebook is going to turn into VR. Chris was running around. You bought the cheapest VR thing that you could.
I bought it was barely better than the Google Glass. It was a Samsung headset. And I used it for, I'd say 2 weeks maybe, and I haven't used it. It's just dusty.
You were every day talking about it, like, fuck VR, dude. Man, I had the VR experience.
I feel like Chris bought into the VR, and then I bought into the augmented reality, because last summer the Pokemon game came out, and I was like, yeah, this is like kind of simple, and it's silly, and it's dumb, but I swear to God, this is just the beginning. This time next year, you're going to see 10 games like this, totally immersive.
And nothing. I think it was a month, less than a month. They had like a 30 million user drop off. It was last summer.
But the day that it happened, everybody in the city was doing it.
Yes.
Like somebody showed it to me in here, and then I walked outside, and everybody on the street was doing it. And I felt like I was in Black Mirror. I'm like, oh my God, I was here. Like, it would be like finding, like you were there when the first printing press started to spit out, and you just would yell out, everything fucking changes, man. This changes everything. And that's how I felt. And then then there was like almost a riot because there was like 30,000 people in fucking Central Park chasing the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Pokemon at the same time. And I'm like, oh, fuck, the world's gone nuts.
Yeah,
and that was it.
I thought that was only the beginning. I was totally into it for 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, it's a little corny, but this is just the first game. Like, think about everything that's going to happen after that. And it really was like everyone was walking around like zombies and like showing each other fucking Dragonites. And I was like, this is it.
There was something like that, I think, when the iPhone got popular, where you could take your iPhone and like point at the street and they would tell you the name of every store. Would just pop up like you, and I'm like, fuck. So yeah, maybe I do need an iPhone. And I didn't get the app, and I never see anybody else using it. People are all the time going, you know where that store is? I'm like, don't you have an app? Yeah, but I don't want
to use it. I'm a person.
A story of my life. I like that story from yesterday. That they said there's this big hole in Mars, just this giant fucking hole that they said, oh, probably aliens caused it. And then because there's so much Trump shit that doesn't make the news.
Yeah, they just move on.
They go out of nowhere. It looks like aliens. Well, first of all, did we ever come to agreement that there are aliens?
No. So saying that you think aliens caused it, which should be a big deal, instead of just going, shh, comey's on.
I never got why they could only talk through music, or in that movie why there was just like, I don't know, they went to India or something and there was like 10,000 people going like they all saw it, but since they're not Americans, we're like, that's not important. We gotta find out when an American sees this.
This one white guy, that's what's important.
Now, I would say, you know how people talk about having faith? You have to be faith-based. The one thing that I can't prove, but I kind of feel like does exist is aliens. Like, I'd be insane to say there's no aliens. I feel like
and I would agree that's a faith thing. We don't have any solid proof, but it doesn't.
Millions of people said they've seen aliens, and I think they're all idiots and they're liars.
Yeah.
But then if they said to me, "You believe in aliens?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
I don't think that. I'm pretty sure they have not reached us, but it would be weird to think that they're not out there in this vastness.
I know, Chris, you got to believe, right?
Oh, 100%. How could there not be aliens?
But you think they walk amongst us. That's the
You said there's a power line that looks like an alien.
Yes.
He tried to bring that up to me yesterday. Is this on the iBank?
Yes, it is.
What is more important, the hole in Mars or the power line?
This power line looks like a fucking alien, dude.
But why would that be? You know it's a power line. Doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah, I would say hole in Mars sounds more important than doesn't this look like something different?
It's a glowing blue ball. That doesn't look like a goddamn alien. I don't know what does.
But it isn't an alien.
It's
might, electricity.
It might, but I could also draw an alien, and that might look like an alien.
Somebody was telling me yesterday that E.T. was bull sugar because a bike can't fly in front of the moon. And this person said it like 4 times to me. Screamed it. That's bull sugar. What am I looking at? Is this rain, Chris? What's the big fucking deal?
Check out this floating blue ball.
What? How do you figure it?
Okay, it does move.
Well, why would you say that's an alien instead of a ghost?
Definitely looks more.
Why did you call it a power line? It isn't a power line at all.
It's a transformer, right?
A transformer blew up. Remember that happened in Jersey a couple years ago when we had the big storm?
Yeah.
I'd say more alien than ghost because it looks technological.
But why are you calling it a power line?
Yeah, you don't even know what it really is, let alone what it might be.
There's nothing about that that's a power line.
It's
That's
on the ground.
electricity in a fucking ball. And it looks like I would love to have it for a party. If everybody would just look out the window now.
Everyone's dancing around it.
What's that power line doing? It's not a power line, Chris.
It's an alien.
Wait for the drop.
Why are you calling it a power line?
It's a transformer, is it not? Is that what it is?
Look, you already did the burn of all time when you said I could just draw an alien. And he had no comeback for that.
He's
And
like,
that's bull sugar. Bikes don't fly in front of the moon. Bull sugar.
That's a good point.
I'm not going to tell you who I was talking to, but it'll come out later.
I have a guess. But...
Yes, you have a perfect guess, I'm sure. That's not how you... This isn't about, let's see who wins. So, first of all, this is the worst fucking title of anything because there's no power line there. You could have just said, floating blue orb, is it an alien? And you would have gotten away. But you say power line. Why not just call it an old school telephone booth? What made you write
Chris,
the power line?
Because it's floating. I thought it was a
power lines don't fucking float.
But the fucking energy ball that was fucking floating was floating along a straight line.
But that doesn't
that's not where power lines go.
Some power lines are under the fucking ground.
That's a very neighborhood to neighborhood. This is what we call power lines, okay?
Our power lines are floating blue balls. I wish I had a fucking shank. I'd start fucking stabbing you. You have an amazing story. There's a lost like floating blue orb, and it's not even an orb because it's not contained. It does remind me more of the smoke monster from Lost, but instead you have fucking derailed this by calling it a power line, which we all know because I throw my sneakers over power lines all the time, and later I'll come back and look at it and think it's cool.
Yes, this ball of energy is also...
But you can't move that around.
Just address the power line. Why you think a power line?
Do you know what a power line is?
Yes, it's like a black cable.
Do you think it's a line of power?
It's a black cable where power goes through.
He just yelled, it's a black cable.
It is.
Honestly, I want you to have your own TV show, and I'm just going to call it Dumb 60 Minutes.
So I'm investigating this ball of energy. I've come to this neighborhood.
Dudes, I'm out here right now looking at this power line.
Oh. Checking this shit out.
I have a guess for your show. Someone who thinks that birds don't have sex.
Let me get her email.
Don't have sex.
So we found out today that birds don't fuck.
You know what? This is a really good thing about whether people believe in aliens or not, right? Just think of the millions of different species that's on this planet alone.
Yeah.
There's fucking bugs and there's mammals that I guarantee you the three of us have never seen before. Like somebody would just say, oh, this is a fucking mammal where I live. And you're like, what?
Like, what is that thing? Is that a fucking gremlin?
What is that, some kind of a jackalope? But you know what I'm saying? Like in the sea, in the fucking ground, there's all these different species. And yet people will go, there couldn't be anybody in space. No one even says it has to be a person that looks like Spock.
Right.
It's just something that's alive,
a creature
that is somewhere else, not here. Why would you not think that that was a possibility? And I've seen scientists who go, no, the fucking odds are that this is the only planet that's close. Really? The infinite amount of fucking galaxies? And you think it's a long shot to get into this again? Now, this is something that stayed in my fucking head, though. When Jim Jeffries said that the reef is dead, the Great Reef in Australia, because of 1 degree difference.
Yeah.
That has stayed in my mind since the second he said it.
That's
all, 1 degree.
Yeah. That all that life just hangs in the balance. And now I think he said what percent? Like a good 80%
No,
of it.
he says it's dead.
Yeah.
He says it's fucking dead as disco. He says the only good thing is that you can walk on the reef now and you couldn't before. And that made me... And I just think of how many plants are there, how many little fucking fishes, crustaceans, power lines,
energy balls.
Allegedly power lines.
There's energy balls down there.
Why is there a picture of Louis J. Gomez on the front of the iBang, and I can't get my fucking picture on there. What's he smiling about?
Amy Hawthorne wrote a article. Let the Skankfest founders be your new life coaches.
Well, by the way, Chris couldn't sound more New York until he says Hawthorne. Amy Hawthorne wrote something.
Amy Hawthorne is here, and she's going to discuss the skanks. She's going to discuss the founders of
Welcome, Miss Hawthorne.
Now tell me, Miss Hawthorne, what is a skank fest? Exactly. Is it a fest of skanks?
Welcome to How's Your Lawn with Amy Hawthorne. So your lawn, is it doing okay? Is there coffee on it? So what is this about?
It's Louis J. Gomez, Rebecca Trent, and Christine Evans.
Who wrote the story, though?
Amy Hawthorne.
Amy Hawthorne wrote the story. It's a little story about the skanks. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know.
I got some news right now. Jeffrey Garian fought it earlier this afternoon, but he's fine now. Hello, Miss Hawthorne, and welcome to How's Your Lawn. So what is it about? What did Amy Hawthorne write?
Amy Hawthorne wrote about... She interviewed Christine, Rebecca.
Power lines?
It's not about power lines.
Energy balls. And more.
And more. All here on How's Your Lawn with Hawthorne. What were you saying? You sound like New York One for 5 fucking seconds.
She interviewed them.
Who's she?
Amy Hawthorne.
He said it again.
Amy Hawthorne interviewed them about running Skankfest and how to run a festival. Amy
You
Hawthorne.
know nothing about it, right? You haven't read a thing.
Hawthorne explains how to run a Skankfest. Do you want to make your own Skankfest? Ask Amy Hawthorne.
She'll know. Email Hawthorne.
How long is your lawn on Hawthorne? So why would anyone else want to run a Skankfest? First of all, how are we supposed to get the skanks? That's the hard part. Getting skanks.
Make your own skanks.
Hawthorne talks to them, and they just about running a festival in general. And but you know they're being interviewed because Skankfest is coming up later in the month.
Right, but what are the tips?
Pick your crew wisely. Number 1.
Pick your skanks.
Yes, I'm going to pick out my crew.
Never say no.
Never ever say no.
What if somebody's asking for non-consensual sex, a la Bill Cosby?
Take chances. And never censor or apologize.
No, we'll see tonight if Bill Maher can pull that off.
He's going to apologize, and he's fucking not going to make a joke about it.
That's yesterday's question. Today,
Opposite.
we have nothing to say about it. What time is the Bill Maher show coming on?
10 p.m.
Who's going to be his guest?
I'll find out.
I hope 7 black guys. Guys, I did apologize. And I'm here with NWA. Who's that?
I don't know. I
It
like your
seems
lipstick,
like a star. Oh, is that Orange is the New Black?
Yeah, it's Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah, I love her too. How come we don't have her on our show, Vito? And whatever happened to you within the halls? You've read it for fucking 3 days and then it was gone.
Yeah, I fell off of that. That's my fault.
Yes, that's what I just fucking said to you.
I should have.
The only way that you do stuff, Vito, is if you're being screamed at constantly. He fucking needs like a Marine drill sergeant just next to his fucking face, just screaming, "Lift your fucking legs, you maggot!" But the second that you go like, "All right, you got it? Yeah, I got it."
But he is like full committal for like 5 minutes on something.
Yes.
Like he's just like,
He
here's
makes a
this
logo
project.
for it.
Here's 150% for you, and then a week later you're like, what was that thing?
Oh, my bad, guys. My bad, and I do take responsibility for not doing any work. That's on me. And what does that mean, that he takes the responsibility?
You're not going to blame me on that?
By the way, what's her name again, that young lady?
Natasha Lyonne.
She would also say Amy Hawthorne. She talks
would.
just like that.
I absolutely love her. I have
Yeah,
such
she's
a crush
great.
on her.
She's great.
Ice Cube is going to be on tonight with Bill Maher.
That's fucking interesting. Now, Ice Cube was a founder of NWA. So if it's such a terrible word, Why does Ice Cube get to use it?
Because he's black.
That doesn't make sense. That's never going to pass. We're never going to stop doing that by that limitation. If the word was so offensive, no one would use it. If someone's child said it, you would just be hitting them over. How dare you? Hey,
5 minutes, I can run up and grab you the. Okay, yeah, no big deal. I'll get it next week. Leave it in the mailbox. Yeah. Are you sure? Okay. Yeah, because she's in the middle of that. Yeah, no problem. I know you're my mother. There's a stupid pressure, whatever. They always are moving. Okay. I'm trying to get rid of it.
I got it.
I apologize. They keep having to move it on.
You got this whole thing down? You got Amy Hawthorne's number?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Go.
Thank you so much. All right, congratulations.
Hey, congratulations to all of us, Rob. It's wonderful news.
Hey, I'm sorry, Ron. I'm running a business here.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize you guys were talking to me. This is great.
No, we were just listening in on your life.
Yeah, well, the guy stopped me. It's like I'm trying, I had a feeling I was going to get put through rather quickly, but not that quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is you drive me crazy because the Great Barrier Reef is not dead because of the 1 degree temperature. It's dead because if any human touches it with their hands, that part dies.
No, that isn't why though. This is Jeffries, who grew up in Australia. He's the one that said the 1 degree. I never been there. Yes. I never touched it, and I never heated up the water.
Was it you?
I spilled a fucking cup of coffee there, and a shark fucking family died. So yeah, I remember always hearing, "Don't step on it, don't touch it." But do you know how big the fucking reef is? You could have ran Woodstock in there and not killed the whole fucking reef. All right, peace. Chuck, Boston.
Hey, I've been thinking about this for many years. Now, what if people say that aliens from other planets are going to come visit us? But what if we're the ones that 300 years from now have to be the ones that become the space aliens, I guess?
You mean, what if we visit someone else and we're now the aliens?
Yeah. We're
and
the
we
aliens.
destroy them?
And we go there and we immediately start doing this to their children. Elliot.
Stop talking like that.
Phone home. Like in the movies. That's bullsugar. So, yeah, your point could be well taken. We could be the aliens. We've made those movies too. I feel like we've seen the movies so many times that we wouldn't even be weirded out if suddenly there was just giant ships appearing over our major cities. We were just like, yep, knew it. Fucking knew it.
Yeah, like, isn't that happen like anytime something bad has ever happened to you? Isn't it something you've already thought of that circumstance happening? So anytime something like really scary or crazy happens, I go, well, there's that thing that I knew was going to eventually happen.
Aliens.
I think that's the same thing that aliens. We would look up, see the ship, and be like, I fucking knew it. There it goes.
We're fucked.
I thought I was a little crazy for thinking it was possible, but it is possible.
What do you think would happen if aliens come here? Would they be friendly? Would they want to take our water? What's your guess, Chris?
I think they're going to want to take our resources.
That'll be it. They just come here. We're taking your resources. They don't even pay attention. What do you think's going to happen?
Like, maybe, trying to get us not to destroy our resources. Like, maybe,
why would they care about us? That'd be like us.
Maybe they want to share it. Maybe they just want to share the resources with us and live amongst us.
Well, first of all,
they're like, stop killing the Great Barrier Reef.
You don't get to share because they're ours. So here's what I believe, and I've actually worked this out. I found an algorithm, so I've worked this out on my computer.
Shit.
And the chances are 97% that if aliens are going to come here, they're going to hold us down and try to make us eat their farts.
Oh, God.
I like that my idea was just that they show up and they're just like hunks. Just give me a piece of all those Reese's.
Dan in Florida.
Okay, so I want to explain that the ocean, excuse me, the Great Barrier Reef is absolutely dying because of the change in temperature. With a change in temperature, the ocean chemistry is able to change a little bit, and it becomes a little bit more acidic. And the barrier reef is very sensitive to acidity in the water. So with it becoming more acidic, it's dying. And if it becomes even more acidic on top of that, then it's going to start dissolving and just disappearing entirely.
Now, Dan, here this barrier reef has been here for thousands and thousands of years, right? Why did we get the 1% 1 degree raise in temperature now?
I mean, this has happened in the past. I mean, a very, very, very long time ago, before the current Great Barrier Reef. There is evidence of this happening in the past.
So you're saying it's nothing we did. It's not because there's people riding around on boats or anything like that in Australia. This is just something that happens.
It has to do with climate warming because of carbon emissions. So it is something people are doing. It has
now
to do
you
with
sound like a lip card. Now you sound.
I know, but it actually is true. It's the chemistry.
I don't believe in science. I believe in when I say I believe in the Bible, I believe in the Old Testament. I'm not even sure if the New Testament's been tested enough. I like the Old Testament.
You're Jewish.
Not really. Kind of a anti-Semitic Old Testament person.
Seems difficult to be.
Oh, it's not easy. Believe me. I am walking a line every day.
Yeah, they're the chosen people, but I don't like them.
Right.
I don't like that they're chosen.
They're chosen, just not by me. But, the New Testament to me, it's just like, it's like any sequel, it's too much.
Yeah.
Look, there's too much Jesus in the New Testament.
That's fucking anti-Christian, and that's the worst thing a person can be.
Perhaps you'll like Revelations then.
I saw his fucking picture in it. Todd in Atlanta.
Hey, Ronnie, Miss Fez.
How are you? Miss Fez is what he's calling himself now.
Hey, man, I just got my tickets to Montreal just for laughs. I was wondering if y'all are going to do anything up there, like a Comedy 101 or an Unmasked.
The answer is yes to both. There'll be a Comedy 101, and there'll be at least one Unmasked, if not a half of one. But this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're going to have a blast there. Montreal is, well, everybody goes there.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a real lot of fun. So, yeah, keep listening. We'll put you on whatever list you need to go on. Chris is just working out all the details. Roland has been the big dog on this, right?
Yeah. Yes, he has.
Roland is knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. It's like, but the two of you together, big wheel, rolling. Pretty good, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why you guys are working together so well.
Loving this new Big Wheel nickname.
I'm trying to keep it alive.
Thank you.
I like to see you with a positive nickname for once.
Our big debate is, do we do the 101 later at night to kind of be the cool show?
Right.
Or do we just go, we're just typical guys, we want to go early? What's your bet, Chris? What's your hopes and dreams?
My hopes and dreams to be the late night show.
Really?
Yeah.
You see yourself as kind of wild and underground, huh?
That's right, yeah.
How about you, Gail?
I'm kind of leaning towards the late night.
Wow. Well, that's because you're a late night person in Montreal. I know I didn't see you at one breakfast.
No.
And that's not like those breakfasts were lined up too early.
No, they're at noon.
I was going out, I would say, hey, let's meet 11:30 or 12 o'clock for breakfast, and I would be the only one there. And I would just be eating at a big table for 7 all by myself. And I'd say to the waitress, I don't speak French, so we're not understanding each other right now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pete, Chicago.
What's up, Bennington?
Hey.
Hey, I think that this coral over there in the Great Barrier Reef kind of sounds like pussy coral to me. I want winning coral like Trump would say, big, fabulous, awesome coral. That sounds like it's losing.
He likes coral that doesn't die. That's the ones he likes.
I would be laughing along with everyone. I like to make all the Trump jokes too. But the Great Barrier Reef is gone. Look Dan over there. Is he checking in on this Father's Day thing? And then we're also supposed to be doing a takeover, Chris?
Yes, we're supposed to take over. I'm going to get you.
supposed to take over.
With who? With the one.
You'll have all those details today.
Why can't we have...
Why is that? Why would you think that statement would even make good radio? I don't mind if you talk that dumb off the air.
And I do.
I don't know.
Do you think he's more eloquent off the air than on?
Well, off the air, I ignore him completely. And that's very helpful.
Rod!
Hotline's going. See who's on the hotline. It's never Don, by the way. It's always Hard Rock Johnny. We've given 2 people our hotline number. And one never calls and one always calls.
Is he our PD? Is Johnny our PD?
The PD means police department? Yes. I actually was in a cab going through Times Square yesterday, and I couldn't have felt more like a fucking idiot.
It's bad going through there.
It's just strange. It's the one place not to see any New Yorkers. Yeah. Hey, what interns we have in today?
We have Justin and Spencer Berger.
Let's see which one gets here first. I'm always excited about that.
Oh, shit.
Oh my
shit.
God. Wow. The new kid won.
It's all right. I let him win.
Oh, okay. That's very cool. That's very cool of you, Spencer Berger.
Thank you.
Guys, Johnny's on the phone, so I want to see both of you, how you guys say, Johnny. Johnny. Who do you think did it better? Let's go. Justin, you first.
Hey, Johnny.
Spencer Berger.
Hey, Johnny.
Oh, they're both good. They're both good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Boy, I'll tell you something. I never thought we'd see anybody faster than Spencer.
No.
I know.
Justin was flying in here.
I know.
I let out my inner Jim Thorpe.
That's
nice.
Chris Stanley's favorite athlete of all time.
Poor bastard.
Why is he poor bastard?
The way it ended.
Yeah, but whose name do we remember?
Jim Thorpe's.
Like, if he would have just had a nice ending to his life, you wouldn't know him. It's like Lincoln. If he would have not, if that would have missed, everyone would say Lincoln's about the 9th best president at best. Same with JFK. Everyone likes him extra because he got killed.
Yeah. I've always really liked him. Foxy.
Yeah, but from what I understand, 2 problems: small dick and quick on the draw.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was kind of sickly, which is weird.
That's no excuse to come fast. No excuse at all to come fast.
Yeah, wasn't he all messed up on painkillers all the time? So he should have been
First
able
of all,
to come.
I feel like I'm teaching 8th fucking grade here. The man had back injuries from his World War II.
I understand.
He was asleep at the wheel.
So because of that, he was eating a lot of fucking pain medication. So he should have took him.
That doesn't make your dick small.
No, but I'm talking about the he's not coming quickly.
That doesn't happen. If anything, that fucking retards your ability to have an erection and ejaculate. No one has taken fucking downs and then just suddenly come in their pants. You're a pill eater. You should know that.
I'm saying it would be harder for him to achieve orgasm. So he shouldn't have been coming so quickly because he was messed up on pain medication. I'm just trying to use logic.
I want you to get a mirror right on the top of it, bad radio, and then look into that mirror every day. Spencer Berger, I'm going to need you to pull this team together because in the time that you've been gone, it's been a shitstorm, my friend.
Really?
And I need your management skills.
What would you like?
I don't know. It's an idea that gets these guys on the ball because they're all over the place this year. Who was your intern partner last year?
I believe it was Coach.
Okay, you were a million times better than Coach. And Vito, you never got Coach back in here for your goodbye. She never gave us a proper goodbye.
I have tried and she's canceled on me each time.
So who's the screw up now? You?
It's on both parties.
There's no both parties. You're the guy. Like if I told you, I need you to go out and get me a fucking gallon of milk, you can't come back and blame the milk. It's you. Okay?
I don't want to be the milk. I want to get the guest.
You're not the milk.
You're never the milk.
It's never going to happen in this scenario.
Now, who does Coach hate? You or all of us?
No, she has no issue with anybody. It's just she has school and now
you never
she
even
has
got
camp.
you never even got her for a phoner. So we can get to the bottom of this.
We can get a phoner very easily.
Then why hasn't it happened in the full year? Spencer's already back.
I think it's me. Does
No,
she have an issue
she
with
has
me?
no issue with you.
She's
She
like
loves
one
you.
of those girls. She likes to be the only girl around. The only kitty in the carrier, if you know what I mean.
I don't. I don't know what that means.
That's fair because I just made it up.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what a carrier is. Now, Vito, she had some kind of bad disease. That's why she couldn't say goodbye to us, right?
Yeah, the last week she got really sick and her stomach was messed up.
Why would any of us believe that? I need to see the medical records of that.
But she left. She threw up and left one day.
So what?
Pregnant?
Chris has thrown up 18
Oh my
times.
God, Chris.
And she's pregnant with anything. It's your goddamn bastard child.
Oh my God.
No.
A child of rape.
I'm not raping anyone or impregnating anyone either.
I'll go to the Up on the iBang when the little baby finally said its first words. Johnny, did you call us for any reason today, or you just letting us know you're going crappy?
No crabbing. We all know that the reason the Great Barrier Reef is dying is Chinese people are kicking it.
You know something?
They're bad swimmers.
Yeah, they are bad swimmers. That's a new stereotype. I always look for new stereotypes.
That is a new one. That's pretty good.
One that I have now that I stick with is Jewish women believe that they consult any store that they go to. Because anytime that I'm at a store, Jewish women tell me how many registers should be open and how many people should be working there. And they're like, there's 4 registers. They should hire 5 people. That way somebody's always taking a break. But you got all 4 registers going at all times. Do you know what I mean? I go, no.
It's a short wait.
I'm online the way I've been online anytime I've gone to a store my entire life. I don't know why this is shocking to you that there's a line. Do you believe this? Yes. Everywhere I've ever gone. Line. Why would I be shocked today? So I was talking with Pete today, Chris.
Pete Dominic.
Yes, Pete Dominic. When I say Pete, I always mean Pete Dominic. And he goes like this. You having a blast with this Seinfeld hug thing? Oh, wait, it's too low-hanging fruit for you, right? You don't like the easy stuff. What? Yeah. So Pete was of the feeling that he shouldn't have hugged Kesha. Mm-hmm. And Jen, you felt like it was an assault on your world.
Yeah, I feel like it's okay for her to hug him, and how he reacted was a little... I don't like that.
Pete took the idea of, look, if I'm in an interview, I'm focused on that interview. I don't have time to hug people. And I go, yeah, I see that.
My feeling is she asked, and she still could have been declined, but the way he went about it was very insulting.
He acted like she had cooties.
He did, and just shirked away, like, ugh.
You got out of the shot.
Seinfeld got out of the shot. He was he was afraid of her. Like, he looked more like Woody Allen when somebody approaches Woody Allen on the street. But Seinfeld has never done this before. It's the first time he goes like this. Look, I'm 63 years old. Like, he suddenly acted like, at my age, you know, I don't know who everybody is. I don't know who's the Kesha and who's the rapist. It could be anything. Spencer Berger, did you see Seinfeld turn down Kesha?
I didn't see that, no.
All right, Chris Stangley, the Stangles of Stangletown, is going to turn around and find it for you. But Johnny, what was you wanted to talk about Chinese people kick the reef.
Chinese people who can't swim, yeah.
That's new stereotypes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. One I didn't know.
I'm also a little concerned about aliens farting in my mouth now.
Well, you should be, because they're going to do it. All right, now, show this to Spencer so he can see it.
Just sleep when you're tired, because people are tired most of the time.
I love you so much.
Oh, thanks.
Can I give you a hug?
No, thanks.
Please?
No, thanks.
A little one.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Oh. Fuck. Oh.
All right, let's stop.
I don't know who that was.
Oh, my God.
So you felt who was in the wrong there? Kesha or Seinfeld?
I would say probably Seinfeld was.
He should have hugged her.
I guess so, yes.
Okay. Chris, where did you go in this?
It's Kesha's fault. She's a fan of Seinfeld. She should know he's an awkward man.
I think it was Seinfeld's awkward moment. I think he could have at least politely declined or given her just a little pat.
If he would have hugged her, this never makes the news, right?
No, never.
No one ever brings it up again. Maybe one person saw it, goes, what's with Kesha?
Yeah.
Seinfeld was doing his great fucking tired chunk, you know? Just because you're tired doesn't mean you sleep. You're really tired? Do you really sleep? So really it all comes down to, I say, the native of northern Canada, almost Antarctica, Justin, one who sits well, who was at fault?
I think they both are. She pushed it like she should have read that first like interaction. He wasn't really down, and then she pushed it again for a hug. Like she should have fucking walked away after that.
I realized too. I didn't realize it the first time. She actually says who she is because she knew it would freak him out. She goes, "I'm Kesha. I love you. Can I have a hug?" So she like right away.
Now let's take it to this, because if I was Seinfeld's lawyer in social court, this is what I would say. The statement that she asked, the question she asked was what?
Can I have a hug?
Can I have a hug? So if I said to Chris Stanley, can I have a cigarette? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives it, now the choice is up to him whether or not he gives me what I asked for. When you turn down and say no, it means that wasn't a question anyway. It's like if I was saying to Chris, I'm taking a cigarette. What? Right? That's a difference. If she came up and said, I'm demanding that you hug me.
Right.
But she says, can I? And then he said, no.
Counterpoint. If you said, can I have a cigarette? And then Chris gave you a reasonable explanation. Oh no, this is actually my last one, but hey, thanks for coming over.
I don't think he owes me that. I don't think he owes me. I don't think he owes me that at all. It's his cigarette. It's his property. Just like Seinfeld's body is his little body, okay? His nipples, his genitals, his bunghole and tape. That's all belongs to him, okay? So you don't have a right to touch those.
No.
You couldn't come over and go, can I grab your balls? No. I'm in the middle of a chunk right now by tiredness.
Oh, it's a little tickle.
I got a tired bit working. So I think if you ask, can I?
Right.
Can I?
Then.
Now, in my neighborhood, if you were eating a sandwich, somebody could yell out hunks, and you had to give them a hunk of your sandwich.
Yeah.
That's why when you leave the house, you have to yell out, no hunks. Or don't go walking down the street eating something. So that's what I'm saying, Johnny. Hunks, no hunks, flips, no flips. Somebody could have called for flips.
Right.
You got to move over and give them that fucking ball.
Right.
You're playing flippers with them. That's why I yell no flips as soon as I hear that fucking door opening up.
Every day.
At Jonesy's. No flips. All right, Johnny. Thanks a lot, pal. Enjoy your crabs this weekend.
Bennington's, you have a good weekend.
Hey, tonight, what's going to happen? Do they sweep the Cavaliers, or do the Heat come back?
Oh, the Heat does not make it back tonight.
And if this team goes faux, and faux, 16 in a row in the playoffs, are they the greatest basketball team of all time?
No.
No.
I think you got to put them in the mix. As quickly as you guys said, no one's ever done this in history. They won how many games? 72?
Yeah, 73.
73. Even more impressive. Now, by the way, last night, and see how, as you know, I had to rush from this Gaffigan thing all the way downtown to do another thing down on McDougal. I got 5 minutes. I go in to get a slice. Where? In the Louis Pizza place,
Nice.
right? Because it was close to where I was going.
Cool.
Not from our pizza, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm like, what is this, DiGiorno? That was the first thing that popped in my mind.
It's not
I
delivery.
feel like I'm eating like a DiGiorno right now. But there was 4 people at a standing table next to me. This guy is saying to the girl, they're apparently just new, and he's saying his favorite teams, right? Okay. And he's picking a local team. He goes like this: my favorite football team is the Giants and also the Patriots. And then he goes, my basketball teams are the fucking Knicks and also the Warriors.
What the fuck?
Thank you, Chris. So I go like this to him. No, I'm not part of this conversation, but I'm standing at my table. I go, oh, how interesting. You just happen to pick as your second team that you root for every championship team.
Okay.
So he says to me, I don't see how this is any of your business. And then I reply, I'm making it my business. And I say it to him, right? I go, and I go like this. I'm talking to her anyway. This guy that you think that you might like is a fucking bandwagon jumper just going along, finding out who's the great team. I'm enjoying the Warriors, but I'm not wearing a Warriors fucking shirt or acting like we did it. I'm on the outside looking in because I didn't grow up in the Bay Area. Now, if I'm a fucking maniac like Dan Soder, who would grow up in a place like that, he's got every right to get out there and fucking start dabbing. He could dab right now if he wanted to.
You can never stop.
Someone said this to me about Dan Soder the other day. But by the way, do you think I had a right to get in that conversation, or should I keep it to
No, it
myself?
seems like it was something you were very passionate about. I think
I wasn't seconds before.
Right,
but at that moment, I just wanted to point out, this guy is a dick.
And I like that you wanted to warn the girl about it.
Yeah.
This isn't the kind of guy you want to settle down with.
All right. Now I can say where I was last night because it has been announced. I was a guest on the Chip Chipperson show.
Nice. Very cool.
And I'm going to give you a hint who the other guest was because this was exciting. His initials, CQ.
Whoa. Yay! Love him.
Yes, Charlie Queens. No, Colin Quinn and I were the guests.
Oh, that's awesome. I love Colin.
And it was, what's not to love? I was actually looking at him and I thought, as the years go by, let's say another 20 years, right? Colin Quinn is going to be in incredible demand as an actor because he has that, he's got a lot of charisma, but also his face is aging to be interesting.
Yeah.
Rather than to be, like I said about Chris, it just looks like your whole face is falling.
It's melting.
Like he could be taking what would have been Keitel roles.
Thank you. He's the Keitel of the future.
Yeah. Which is a good position to be in.
Fucking great position to be in.
I mean, he's the wolf.
Hungry like the wolf. Did you watch Fargo, by the way?
I didn't. I have all my stuff saved for this weekend.
Wolves show up in that. Wolves show up in that.
I got chased by wolves once.
You're fucking kidding me. Where, up in the...
Yeah, this is when I was working pest control and at a hydroelectric camp.
Tell me what pest control is up in the northern part of Canada.
Yeah, basically like the horseflies and mosquitoes get so bad that they'll stop work. So,
shit.
yeah.
I hate a horsefly.
They're so...
Every time a horsefly, it feels like if a horsefly... You ever been bit by one?
No.
It's
you can
horrible.
actually feel teeth.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it feels like you've been hit with a claw hammer. And it's a tiny thing. And it feels like somebody just came up and hit you with a claw hammer. I mean, it's got a sting to it.
Yeah.
All right, so it's so bad that they can't run these dams anymore.
Yeah, so basically, me and like 3 other guys, we would get helicoptered out to like, a good like 10K outside the camp. And then we would just do like the perimeter and we would just lace every, water, any water source with this biodegradable pesticide. And then one day we're doing this, right? And we're all spread out. And I hear over the radio, Lou! And I'm like, who the fuck's Lou?
Yeah.
Like, the guys I work with are Jean-Pierre and Guy.
Yeah.
And then, like, I see one of them running out. And he's like, Lou! Like, even, like, crazier. And then he just books. And I remember, Lou means wolf in French.
Holy shit.
And, like, so I just start...
like the Lou.
So, yeah, I go in that direction that he's going. And luckily they went after my boss because he was like the smallest
That is
guy.
lucky.
And he used the bear mace on his trail, so they would like fuck off. And then we called in the helicopter and we got the fuck out of there.
Jesus Christ.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
If it was up to me, I would kill every wolf in Canada.
Yeah, my grandmother told me to kill them if I ever have the chance because they're our competition. You don't want them on your trap line.
The competition for what? Like beaver?
Everything. They're eating all our food.
Your family were trappers?
Yeah. My grandfather was one of the last trappers to trade with the Hudson's Bay Company before they closed up shop.
Jesus.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And now you had to take a helicopter to work, right?
Yeah, like we'd stay in the camp and like, it was a pretty good like work camp and stuff. But yeah, we would have to go a helicopter every day.
What kind of money did you get paid to do a gig like that?
It was pretty good money.
Imagine. Wolves.
But it's hard.
And horse
Yeah,
fly swarms?
it's already hard. It's hard just hearing that story. I want to take a fucking nap. Man, last year I thought Spencer Berger was so interesting.
Well, actually, I've encountered a bear. We were actually, I was with my camp and we went out to Yosemite, and basically what happened was, it was at 6 a.m. We see like 3 or 4. It was a family of black bears right in our area.
Don't be racist.
I'm not being racist though, but
you know what I'm saying.
I know.
Just to say,
I gotcha.
Doesn't matter what kind of bear.
Doesn't matter what kind, but they were just a family of bears. I think it was like a mother and 2 cubs.
It's surprising. No dad,
I was getting
No
sketched
dad around
out.
the
I was
black
sketched
bears.
out. I was almost gonna wake my friends up and like I just hid, and then like
You hid?
about 30 minutes later, then they disappear.
Yeah.
I thought I was dreaming though, like, but then all of a sudden I say, "Whoa! Oh my God, this is real."
And that's the most dangerous thing too, to see a mother and cubs. You could not be in more danger in that scenario.
Well, now look who looks like a wolf asshole over here. I mean, we thought that story was so great, Justin, but look what happened to Spencer.
Okay, well, I got advice for you. Next time that happens, and like if you ever get charged by a bear, you have to like double down, basically get in a 2-point stance.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your palms together, and when it's like right about to come and bite you, you pop that fucker right in the chin, and it'll knock it on its ass. And bears have never been knocked on their ass, so they're going to be like frightened and they'll run away.
Does that actually help?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's an old creature.
Oh yeah, I saw a thing on YouTube. You heard of this guy Coyote Peterson?
No.
Oh, because he.
I know his brother.
Oh yeah, no, he does these videos
Hamster leg.
about there was this video of him when he encountered a bear. He said to get under and just keep your distance, and then they'll go away. So I guess every movement's different.
Yeah.
You know, I never was charged by a bear, but one time overcharged by a bear. And I didn't even know, so I got the receipt back.
How much did he overcharge you?
Did you call the bank?
Yeah. No, I called Amex directly. And I go, stop payment on this. And they're like, why? I go, I don't trust bears. And they go, what type of bear was it? I go, I'm not saying. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to judge me.
But then by saying that, it makes it clear.
A lot of times if I have a bear coming after me, I'll light a torch and just be like, ah.
That's how you'll charge it back.
Yes.
Charge it thousands of dollars with fire.
Nice, Spencer. Now, the Cree understand these kind of animals, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a spirit animal?
There's a ceremony you could do to find it out. But we consider the bear to be our brother because they're very smart and
like brother bear.
Yeah. And that's where that comes from. So we hold them in very high regard.
Ah, but wolves not so much.
Yeah, they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
But you didn't did you do this ceremony where you find your spirit?
No. There's only a few guys who, claim to do it legitimately.
And I'm one of them. Which is weird.
Just have them do it.
Yeah. So I'm always very tentative towards those things because sometimes it could just be bullshitting.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah. But yeah, I have another story about, it's not my story. My buddies, they saw a bear along a logging road and they shoot it. And then they see 2 cubs. So they're like, oh shit.
Shoot them.
No, they were gonna catch them because we used to keep, baby cubs like that as pets. And, so yeah, they're chasing them and they're running after them. And, as one of my buddies is about to catch it, he fucking falls and rolls down a hill. And right as that happens, mama bear comes out. They didn't kill the mom, they killed the dad.
Oh my God.
And they fucking got the fuck out of there so fast. They were like, yeah.
Well, I have a story pretty similar. It was in Vietnam. And we broke into this prison camp. And we ended up killing 15 of the Viet Cong, cutting off their heads, putting on sticks, and jamming it into the ground.
You're the villain of this story.
And here's the weird part of it. A was 1997. And B, turns out we weren't in Vietnam. We were in West Philadelphia. And it wasn't a prison camp. It was a nursery school.
Oh, no.
When everything came together, I looked at my friends.
Wow.
I mean, we were all covered in blood. And I'm like, let's get the fuck out of here. And we left, right? But we were hungry, so we pulled into McDonald's.
You could eat after that.
Drive-through. Could not get out and eat at a table.
Sure.
Could only eat. But yeah, we were hungry. We were starving. We had just decapitated 15 preschoolers in what could now be called a war crime, but without the war. Basically, just a straight ahead crime. Now, here's the strange thing.
Yeah.
Didn't even make the paper.
Wow.
Isn't that odd?
Really
didn't
weird.
make the paper, didn't make TV. Somebody told me they heard two truckers talking about it on the CB radio. So sometimes I'll even lay there and I'll go, that was either the worst thing that ever happened to me or it didn't happen at all. And I just kind of thought that it happened because I was high.
I hope it's the latter.
I don't know if there was a ladder there. I mean, we put the heads on the stick at a regular level and then just lifted up and jammed down. 2:00 today, the man who found it, created, and was the showrunner for the television show Laugh-In.
George Schlatter, Unmasked, happening today at 2 p.m.
That was such a fun Unmasked.
And it's
Go ahead, Chris.
it's for the 50th anniversary of Laugh-In, which Time Life is releasing the entire series in a box set.
All right, I just heard from my friend Mike Kaka, who has taken on the name Wolf before because that's so much. He studied wolves, and he claims that all three of Justin's stories are lies or, wait, what did he say? Are false/lies.
He has the balls to say this to a native person.
I know that's the thing is you lived around
Yeah.
wolves your whole life, right?
Well, yeah, whenever I was up north, not when I was in school in Montreal, obviously.
Yeah, Montreal. Who's going to find a wolf there? But up north,
No,
how
Lou.
far north of Montreal do we need to go?
9-hour drive.
Okay. A 9-hour drive. Chris, would you be willing to take the 9-hour drive on the back of a motorcycle?
Oh, Jesus.
Justin taking you up to his people in the far north.
I mean, I
can't
do it if he's an intern, but when he's not an intern, I can take that ride.
Okay. Now, I want your hands around him and him wearing a half shirt.
Oh, all right, that's
for 9 hours.
That would be uncomfortable.
Looks like somebody's homophobic then.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I do not like homophobia.
That's your thing. You say that. I mean, you're strict about, not very much, but that.
You're
you are.
starting to make it sound like I'm gay, and that's hurtful.
No, that's what's great about it. They're just so open.
All right. Here's the things that Mike is saying to me. So I want you to.
Yeah.
A, wolves don't chase people. Is that true or false statement?
Yeah, they'll chase people. They went after the smallest guy.
Let's see. You don't punch a bear in the jaw. You would never get close enough. Just make noise and get out.
No, when it's charging you, I was talking about when it's charging you.
Yeah.
And you're
He didn't say go after a bear.
Like, this is when you're completely fucked and you have no other option.
And then he also says the dad bear that you spoke of would have killed the cubs once the mother bear was died.
Well, it's a secondhand story. It's not my story.
So maybe it was just like another sow then.
Yeah.
A lot of guys just feel like they can yank on your leg. You know what I mean? Pull your chains. 2 chains, as we call you. What are you doing, Chris?
Yes, coming up.
See that I'm doing something else, right? I got all my.
You're talking
interns.
about wolves and everything.
We're trying to get to the bottom whether Justin has great stories, which we all believed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mike's calling him a downright, according to him, Indian giver.
Whoa.
Do you hate any kind of? Do you ever get like Indian racism up in Canada?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because the Canadians are racist fucking people.
Oh, yeah.
They
Absolutely.
tell everybody how good they are and how polite they are, but then they headbutt people in fights. So
there you
So
go.
what would they say to you? Like, what are you doing here? You Indian? Something like that?
They would ask me, like, would you eat any whale blubber and shit like that? And I'd be having lunch with them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's shit like that. I've been called savage. And, yeah.
Oh, my God. Mike Kaka said all these things?
Yeah, Mike says he's a savage, blubber eating.
Wow.
No, Mike says you can punch a dog in the jaw when it's charging you.
Oh, he's talking about the dogs, though.
I'll tell you this, I'd rather just throw a rock.
They're not even charging.
Eugene, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I just wanted to tell you don't have to outrun the bear or the wolf. You just got to outrun your buddy.
Yeah, we all know that joke.
Yeah.
Okay, bud.
All right.
See, we're
later.
trying to have a real fucking kind of a Cree conversation.
That's what I did to Susan in the shark attack. I said, sorry, Susan. You're dead to me.
Is it Suzanne or Suzanne?
Susan.
Poor Susan. Can't swim.
It's her own fault.
The ocean. You don't swim. Is it your fault?
I guess
normally
You would definitely have been eaten.
You normally blaming your parents fucking... They'd still be eating Chris.
I'll take it back.
Oh, so fucking stuffed. We got a break here. What do you need to plug, Chris, though?
The George Schlatter Unmasked, that's coming up at 2 p.m. today. George came in for the 50th anniversary of Laugh-In. Time Life is releasing the entire series in a box set, and we have 2 to give away. And you can purchase it at timelife.com/laughin.
How are we giving it away?
On Twitter.
How?
Tweet at Bennington Show, First Responders.
Well, I don't think George has a Twitter, does he?
He does not have a Twitter, no.
Well, why would we care about the Twitter then? For ourselves?
So we did in the past, and I didn't think...
Yes, but it was always about the person.
Yes, the person.
Not us.
No.
I don't like to sit around and count my tweets like I'm happy about it.
I will figure out another way to give this,
You
these
can
two
do it any
spots.
way you want. I don't care. I'm just pointing that out.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we'll take a break. Right back. Bennington.
Welcome back to Bennington.
Thanks. I don't know why you're so angry about it, but thank you very much.
Comedian Talib Babs in studio. Talib is performing Monday, July 3rd at Caroline's Comedy Club. Go to carolines.com for tickets and on Twitter at Talib Bab.
Talib, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Ron. Thank you for having me. Gail, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we checked out your Twitter feed, and I think you're a little shocked over the Cavs.
I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. I'm a huge LeBron James fan. I thought that he could give him a better fight, and I thought he could at least get one. I mean,
I thought Game 3, I was watching, I'm like, well, okay, this is the Cavs, this is the Cavs, this is the Cavs, and then the last moment, the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. You just one bucket. Just one. Somebody.
They look like they were just spent. They look like they were just exhausted. So obviously no way they come back, but can they at least make them go back to Oakland to win this?
At this point, why? Why would you want to go back to Oakland?
Yeah, you just don't want to anymore. You're just like, let's just get swept.
Yeah, you get trounced in Golden State, and then they celebrate all their fans, and you got to make another flight back to California. Back to Cleveland. You don't want to do that.
That's more than I'd want to. I mean, now that last year seems more important than ever that LeBron got one in Cleveland. If he doesn't win last year and this happens again this year, people are going to be really rough on him. But I think now you're like, he's got a couple you got to respect.
Yeah, he can retire. He could have retired after last year, and it'd have been fine. Because he just needed one for Cleveland, and then came back, and then Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, and then he was like, probably, oh my God, what am I going to do? He was freaking out.
The funny thing about Kevin Durant is nothing... Even watch him, he doesn't seem athletic, and he's doing all these athletic things. And you're like, oh, he looks like an awkward guy, but that just went in.
Just 7 feet lanky, just slender man, just coming down the court, knocking down threes in your eyeballs. This is disrespectful. So disrespectful.
Did you look at our Twitter because the picture of me in this show got done last night when I'm with Chip Chipperson? This is the strange place that they podcast from. And then there's this crazy picture of Bobby in the background. It was like being in a David Lynch film. Why can't you find it? There it is. Look at Chip.
Look at Chippy.
Now look at...
I didn't
he's
know
wearing
that
a headband. Chris Stanley stole that from him.
No.
But then he's wearing the tiniest little hat.
I didn't know
The glasses.
Chip wore a little hat.
He doesn't. He came in a regular hat, and then he took off the hat, and there was a tiny hat under it. And Colin said to him, great radio bit.
That's the style for the summer right there.
Yeah, it is. And that's his chick, Lauren, that apparently they're having sex.
Chip and her?
Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations, Chip.
Yes, doing well for himself.
Yeah. I guess. Chip does well, period.
I'm going to tell you.
I think that's West Side, but I'm not sure exactly.
Oh, that's... Yeah, that's tough. It could be West Side.
Yeah.
There's something in your and Colin's eyes that just kind of look like what's happening right now.
That's total exhaustion of spending an entire show with Chip. And it's almost, you know what? We have to look like you've been with a friend at the hospital for 2 days. Here's the only way that I could explain it. I felt like I was on Space Ghost Coast to Coast for an hour. Like, there's nothing for you to say.
Right.
When you're the guest. When you're just like, well, Chip, I don't know if I agree with you there. Or, Chip, I think you're getting angry about nothing. Look at Chip's finger, just goes off into weirdness.
Yeah, there's a strange bend there. Ugh.
Acrobatic, that's what it is.
Now, you're mainly East Coast with your comedy, right?
Yeah. Started out in D.C.
But you got a gig here in town now, right?
Yeah, I live out here now, so it's it's been fun. Just been smelling all the urine on the subways and just getting used to it. Yeah, man.
Well, we got a kid here. He came down from northern Canada. He's our intern, and he says he comes close to puking every day because he comes from the purest air that we have. But are you getting used to subway air?
No, I used a Dunkin' Donuts cup to throw up in this morning.
You threw up in a Dunkin' Donuts cup?
Yeah, just a little bit, but still, it was bad. It's the water garbage smell that gets me the most.
And it's only like 70 degrees. Like, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get way worse.
It's going to get really bad.
Summer can get pretty rank.
I feel so embarrassed that, that's like the last thing on my mind. I'm just breathing that air. I'm just used to it.
All right. Mike Kaka just wrote to me, that's bullshit. The air in northern Canada smells worse.
Yeah, it smells like caca.
Oh!
Last name pun.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But this is the struggle for you, whether you can make it or not.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst part of my morning.
He lives. You've been to Montreal for?
No, I used to live in Toronto.
Yeah,
but I've never been to Montreal.
He's 9 hours above Montreal, a 9-hour drive. That's up there. Because when I'm in Montreal, I'm like, well, this is as far north as anyone could ever go. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like DC. I miss like Maryland and DC because like you could travel for 30 minutes without smelling like piss.
Right.
I miss that. Like here, it's just like, oh my God, you step outside and you were just swamped in it.
Now, to be fair, it's mainly dog piss. It's not human piss that you smell.
I'm not sure.
It's just like a small percentage is human.
I don't know why anyone would freak out if they saw a person peeing on the street. But we just allow dogs to do it without there being anybody complaining at all.
Yeah.
I can't smoke. But your dog can sit there and fucking piss on the street.
And if you say something, you're an asshole. If you hop out and be like, hey, that's not okay, could you take your dog somewhere else?
Anyone who doesn't like dogs is treated like a dog killer immediately.
I agree. Like I don't really like dogs. Like I like small dogs.
Right.
But like when I say that, when I say I don't really like dogs, people think I just like throw dogs off the roof.
Right.
Off a 37-floor building. Like that's not what I do. I just don't really love dogs.
But I noticed most black guys are not crazy about dogs.
Yeah, I mean some are, but like not really crazy, but like they treat it like it's a pet and not like a brother. Like it's just it's a pet and not your family member.
I found out through friends of mine that they find that it is gross that I will allow my dog to kiss me on my mouth.
That's
and apparently this is the thing that they're like, yeah, all white people do it and we find it really gross.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you guys wouldn't kiss your dog.
No.
Like if your dog kissed your mouth, you would be like, freak out.
It's disgusting. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, white people do kiss dogs on the mouth a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But they also kiss their kids on the mouth, and a lot of people get upset about that. And then black people said that we smell like wet dog, and that hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I found that
I didn't even
out
know
through Google.
that was a fucking thing that people we say. And if you even just if you put in Google, why do white people, it immediately comes up, smell like wet dogs. That's how many black people fucking search that term.
And at first I was like, this is just made up. This is just a made up thing. And then it started to really get to me. I was like, do we? Do we smell it?
Not all. This is a sweeping generalization.
Okay, it's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype.
I like new stereotypes. I like stereotypes, not the old ones, but brand new ones.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Now we got one from working next door to Sway. and we figured this out years ago. Black guys like personal pan pizzas because they don't like to share pizza. That surprised me.
That's surprised. I didn't know that like that. I'm not really a big pizza guy, so that makes sense. But yeah, I can get that though.
All the guys that were doing the show, we were looking over and like they're like 12 little tiny pizza boxes, and we're like, why don't you guys? It's cheaper if you get the big pizza, and they're like, oh.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Your hands are all in. Everybody's hands are all in
what
there.
Everybody said.
Nobody puts their nobody uses a fork to separate the slices.
It's true.
Just like,
and our filthiest person, Chris, is the guy who decides to divide up the pizza.
Yeah.
And I just always want to say to him, you know that we think that you're gross, and now you've grabbed every slice in the box.
I want to be nice. Don't hand out slices.
It's gross. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it
wanna
seems
think about
gross.
it.
that's the
We're
opposite of
going
nice.
personal pan from now on.
Yeah, we're going to personal pan it.
I've also noticed that black people like to get a straw with a can of soda.
Really?
Yes, like I've seen can of soda and then they'll ask for a straw because they think it's gross to drink where the...
That makes some sense, though, right? Because the can is not even like a bottle.
It's not a
this is
glass
new
that you've
fresh.
just cleaned.
Yes.
This has been like on a truck and people have grabbed it.
I
And I'm
never
like,
even thought of that. I'm going to
I-
get a straw from now on. That's gross.
I do the waterfall technique. I don't get the straw. I do the waterfall. Just don't put my mouth on it. Let it just. The women do the straw. If you got lipstick and stuff, they do the straw. But
Stone Cold.
Yeah, Stone Cold it with the beers.
Smash two together.
Smash my Mountain Dews together and get it popping.
Talib Babs in studio. Talib's performing Monday, July 3rd at Caroline's Comedy Club. Go to carolines.com for tickets and on Twitter at Talib Bab.
Where's your favorite club to work in the city right now?
Favorite club to work in the city? Probably Caroline's.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's the vibe, the audience.
It also looks the way people think a comedy club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looked like Desi Arnaz and Lucy would play there. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
got a really old Copacabana look about it. It's classy.
The lighting, the curtains,
Yeah.
like the way the all the tables are set up. It is
Yeah.
like very old school.
But then you see a lot of other clubs that don't pull off that vibe. There's a lot of places now. They're just like, the club's somewhere in the back.
Right.
Go down a hall. You know what I mean? You're like, this doesn't feel like
Go
show
past the
business.
bathroom and
Yeah.
make a right and
Yeah.
then down the steps.
Like, this doesn't feel like show business at all. to me. Chris, why don't you plug what we got coming up at 2 o'clock?
The George Schlatter Unmasked. George is the producer and creator of Laugh-In, and he came in for the 50th anniversary of Laugh-In. Time Life is releasing the entire series in a box set. Go to timelife.com/Laugh-In, and that's coming up at 2 p.m. Unmasked with George Schlatter.
I wish I would do something that people would care about 50 years from now. That would be the greatest thing ever.
It feels crazy. It's 50 fucking years.
Why? You weren't even born then. Why would it feel like it was a long time? Yeah, it could be a million. This feels crazy. I wasn't even born.
I'm going back and watching the Goldie Hawn pieces. I didn't realize how fucking hot she was back then.
Really?
I knew.
Well, she's like the end all. Like she's just like
she was like an it girl.
crazy. Yeah, like.
But that just goes to show she's been a star for 60 years. Like when she came in here with Amy Schumer, people were freaking out because Goldie was here.
Right.
And that's 50 years of people freaking out.
Doesn't feel like it though. Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it. I couldn't.
Thank you, Talib. I feel the same thing.
I can't.
Flew by.
It
50 years
doesn't
flew by.
feel like it. You realize that it's like 150 years since the Civil War?
Doesn't feel. I feel like it was just yesterday.
Oh my god, that's really weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fucking time is flying.
I was down Gettysburg. It's changed so much. It was like when I was younger, there was just people laying their dead everywhere, and now there's nail salons. That didn't make sense. What you said.
I'm just saying.
I know.
All the time since Laughing.
No, you're saying this is the shit that people say, so you thought you could just throw in and be accepted by other humans?
But people listen. You listen. Ron listens, unfortunately, and
Yeah, that's a problem. Now, you did some radio in D.C., right?
yeah, I was assistant producer for Chad Dukes, who I spoke to this morning, and
Yeah.
he said, "Tell Ron They need a bronze statue in front of this building for you. They need
Wow, that's really nice. I really want to get a bronze statue for myself. But
I would love that because it'd be right across from Fox's Bart Simpson statue. So they'd have Bart and we'd have you.
what I want to do is just get the Rocky statue and put my head on it.
There you go.
Like everybody from
You
Philly.
still have gloves on?
Yeah. You know how like a lot of people have, if you're from Philly, you just be sitting around like a kid, you're like, maybe I'm the next Rocky. I don't know. Maybe I can go to the distance. But that's very nice of him to say.
Yeah, I got $5 on me. We can get a GoFundMe started. We can get this going.
You know, that's also a thing that seems like it's like people don't even do it anymore, right? Like the GoFundMe was so big for a while.
There's like so many different ones now because now there's like people who have health issues and then there's people who have inventions. Like it used to just be like everyone had a GoFundMe.
Right.
Now I feel like there's like 10 different services that do the same thing.
Yeah, there was Kickstarter first, then GoFundMe, and then there's one called Indiegogo that I think is just for inventions.
So people use like GoFundMe now for their personal fuck ups.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I left my bank card at the club last night. And somebody just start a campaign for my debit card. I got to buy lunch tomorrow.
I'm starting a new thing called Go Fund Yourself. And you take care of it yourself, whatever you got going on. It's not going to be me helping your kid go away to camp. Like sometimes they'll ask for things, like if a kid is sick, I get it. Because a kid wants to do something, no, I'm not chipping in.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. I don't want to, the fact that your kid wants to go white water rafting, that has nothing to do with me.
Be a better parent.
Exactly. Save your money.
Somebody was trying to talk to me about the other day that they wanted to give away their hair. And I'm like, why? And they said to give it to little kids that are sick. I go, isn't it bad enough that you're sick and you get your head shaved? Then you got to put somebody else's hair on your head? I'd feel like a fucking maniac.
Wouldn't it itch?
Yeah.
Like, I don't what?
I had a friend say this not too long ago, and it's just like, I don't think she has that nice of hair.
Yeah, that's
like it's like if you don't have nice hair,
right?
That's very arrogant. So these kids need my hair. My hair is amazing.
My
These
hair's
kids
beautiful.
will love this shit on their head.
But I would hate to have somebody's hair on me. I don't like to. Like if I looked over and just a piece of their hair was on my arm, I'd be grossed out. Let alone to take a bunch of it and just put it on top of my head.
I would love to donate to like sick white kids, like 'cause I got, I'm black, so my hair.
right?
Just would love to put my twist in that. sick kid named Charlie.
You would only be able to give it out to little Jewish kids because they run a Jew fro.
There you go. Yeah.
Actually, does Spencer kind of have a fro going?
Yeah, he does.
It's very curly, but it's not tight curly.
Yeah. Yeah, you have some curls.
That is correct.
Have you ever tried to let your hair grow long?
I don't know. Probably not.
Spencer, come on in here as quick as you can.
I love how he ran over to say that's correct.
That's correct. He's got his own thing going on.
Last summer, he did tell me that he had a real Jew fro going.
Oh, is that what you said last summer? Jew fro?
Yes, I did.
Now, have you ever grown any facial hair, or can you?
I've grown a little bit of a beard though, but I gotta keep shaving.
You got like a baby face.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, you got like an infant. That's a good thing.
Well, yes, it is.
You look at Chris. His face was around when Laughing came on.
50 years.
Doesn't feel like it to me at all.
Were you wearing that headband the whole time, or did you just put that on?
I haven't had the entire time. Yeah,
Rambo is
All
that's
day?
his look.
Yeah, all day. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Vito, you rock it. Yeah, it has. I brought it up to him this morning.
Yeah.
Because Chip Chipperson wears a headband too.
Oh, that's why.
His is more like a tennis headband.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Vito? You going with the headband look this summer?
I got one on right now.
Okay.
Oh, that's
The
bullshit.
headband and the hat.
So, because we all notice I sweat so much, so I found out about these sweat wicking headbands, and I thought it might be a good solution.
Sweat what?
Sweat wicking headbands.
What's wicking?
Wick, yeah. I just read about it on Amazon. I ordered one, and I haven't been pouring sweat on my face all day, so it's going pretty well.
It's a game
It
changer.
is.
Yeah.
He does look dry.
How much was it?
$8.
Set you back 8.
4.5 stars. Wow. Amazon Prime, if you want to order one, I could get you one. It could come in a day.
Wow. I am mind blown.
Did you get free delivery from Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
Sweet deal.
Free 2-day.
Free 2-day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were calling that Tuesday. I thought your new thing was called Tuesday.
It's free only on Tuesday.
How come no one does anything with that? We could be like, it's Tuesday. Come on, Chris, write it down your notes. What are you doing?
Let's go and plug.
Yeah, plug away.
Talib Babs in studio. Talib's performing Monday, July 3rd at Caroline's Comedy Club. Go to carolines.com for tickets and on Twitter at Talib Bab.
And Talib, you're working for a TV show?
Yes,
Still?
Stephen Colbert, Late Show Stephen Colbert.
What are you doing with that show?
In the digital media department.
Wow.
Very cool.
There's got to be a lot of excitement there right now since the big jump in the ratings.
It's great, man. It's
I understand Fallon's not going to last much longer. He says he's going to give it another 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I have no comment on that.
Because you want to do his show as a stand-up.
Oh, I still don't have a comment on that, I guess. I don't know
What would
if
be
I'm
the
allowed to.
dream? What would be the dream late night show to get? Because a lot of guys from the stand have been getting the Tonight Show lately.
I think any show you can go on is great.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I think any show you can get on would be amazing.
I'm going to give you one though. Conan? No, I'm only kidding. What show would you want to get, Spencer? Have you ever done any stand-up?
No, I have not.
You seem like a funny guy.
Thank you. I try to be funny in front of the girls at school.
And is it working?
Semi, but it takes time. But years of practice. But it's starting to increase quickly. It's starting to increase.
I like
but
the sound of that.
especially at frats or sororities. That's when you got to get your swag going.
Okay, you got to get your swag on. What would your swag be? Let's suppose you look over, Gail's there. What would you say to Gail to get her to pay attention to you?
It's a hard question. Like, I don't really know. Like, I would just come up with any random line from a show and just do an imitation.
Do one of your imitations.
What would you do? Like,
what's your number one thing?
I don't know. Well, no offense to Trump supporters, but like, I would try to do a Donald Trump impression.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay.
All right, listen. We have a big day today. We will make our country strong, and that's it. I don't know.
Now, would that work for you?
I mean, I would definitely be intrigued.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you really need to do is perk their interest, and I was interested.
You're getting laid after that. I'm telling you, you're all in the sheets with her. After that impression.
Do you got any other impressions that you do?
Depends though. Actually, I would do some super bad impressions. I would do an imitation of McLovin.
Okay, let's from the movie. You love the movie Superbad.
Oh yeah.
So would you like work? First of all, would you work the movie into conversation?
I would. Well,
or would you just start?
If I was
coming up
talking
as
to the girl,
McLovin?
if I was talking to the girl, and you know, I would just tell her, "I am McLovin."
That's
okay.
good. That's good.
Interesting.
You're getting a threesome after that.
Yeah.
She is going to
You
be
know what
so
helped?
ready.
It helped that you said the name, so like somebody like me wouldn't know who you were doing.
Just
But you're
imagine-
like, I am McLovin.
If I first, well, actually, if I were to first meet a girl, I would say like, "Hey." She would ask you what my name is. I would say, my name is McLovin. I say, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
That's good.
That would bring the spirits going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
That would work.
I agree.
Now, do you have any turnoffs? Is there anything that a woman would turn you off?
Well, first of all, if I'm stalking her to her dorm, or
that's
if
odd. That's odd.
Okay.
I can't.
No,
No.
I'm not saying turn them off. Turn you off.
Oh, if they were to turn me.
You, sometimes you follow them to their door.
That was just his own person.
I don't know. I mean, it's a hard question though, but like,
But have you followed a girl to her dorm? Just
no,
to-
never. Because that's when girls think guys are creepy.
right.
I mean, you don't do that.
Yeah,
Right.
but just know that you'll follow her for a couple blocks.
Yeah,
not all
maybe
the
a
way.
little bit.
Well, if they follow me, well, if they're actually that bad, or if it gets kind of sketchy, then forget that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be raped and killed.
Oh no.
No, you got to be careful.
Yeah. No, it's
I
very
agree.
rare because, you know, the statistics show that the percentage shows that mostly women get sexually assaulted by guys.
That's true.
Very few guys get sexually assaulted by women because I had to take like an online course about sexual assault and rape on college campuses. So like that's how I learned it.
So 3 times you're out, right? That's
Yep.
what you figured out.
Done your research.
Yeah.
Did your research.
No, it was a course that I had to take, and
Yeah.
Right.
and so that's what they said.
So the number one, the people more likely to sexually assault women are men, and then more likely to sexually assault men are also men.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you could still be sexually assaulted, just not by a woman, probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
A man could follow
I
you
would punch
too.
the crap out of that man.
Yeah.
Well, first I would, because they have emergency phones. I would get the
Get some
cops,
of those.
get authorities.
Just like every hero in a movie does.
Oh yeah.
Let me get to a phone. as soon as I possibly can.
Spider-Man, we need your help. Well, give me your cell phone.
I'm making a call.
Does your campus have rape stairs?
I don't know
What's that mean?
What does that
We had those put in our campus, certain sections, that there are type of steps that you can build that women can run up and down faster than men because of the type of stride. So it's like a long step that is longer like this, considering the way a woman's body is built. So if she hits the stairs, you can, and we used to test them all the time. So we would like run against each other. The guys would always win. Then we'd run up the regular steps. The guys would be like running in front of us enough time to grab us. But then we would hit the rape stairs, and then you would get like feet on them very quickly.
Ooh.
Isn't that really
I've never
weird?
heard of this.
Never heard of this.
I remember the stairs. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
By the hub.
And did it slow down your raping when you went to that school?
I never
deter you?
I never raped anyone.
What always would slow me down is that my pants would be down around my ankles while I was chasing them.
You gotta wait to do that part.
Yeah. So you never sexually assaulted anyone?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No way.
Good to hear.
If I witnessed it, I would get to a phone. I would contact the police right away.
Because I always say
I'm
this.
a good man.
No means maybe. Right? That's the first thing.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, they always say no at first, but then you keep going. You're like, maybe I'll do it.
You think that's a good idea?
No.
Maybe.
I'm
What
not
you're
that
saying is
type of
good.
person who would touch women like that.
Right.
Okay.
Even if she wanted to. If you just
Yeah,
said,
but
I want you to do it.
Oh my God.
Then you wouldn't?
Pressure, there's pressure.
Well, if it's
What if
peer
she
pressure,
goes, I want you to come to my room and touch me like that? Would you go?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I got to know her first because usually what happens if you don't know the person, because already they're going to be flirting with you. So that's typical gossip.
Right. So I don't understand where we're at. So she says, I want you to come to my room and touch me there. Touch me in a very Trump way. And would you do it or say, no, I got to know you better?
Well, it all depends on the whole scenario, but I mean, I would give it a try at first a little bit, but then I would just do it quick and get it over with.
Oh. Okay, you
That's what women like.
Yeah.
Touch me really fast.
Yeah, that's the way I over with. Yeah, I'm over so fast. They're like, did it even happen? And I go, for one of us, it did. And I always say, when she goes, that was bad, I go, not for me. It's fantastic. Well, this is interesting to know. You're figuring this out because you're a college guy.
Oh, yeah.
What school do you go to?
I go to UConn.
UConn. Oh, Kemba Walker. And
yeah. Shout out to the Huskies out there.
Yeah. All
Is that what you say to them?
Yeah, we go, UConn, Huskies, UConn, woof. That's our typical campus chant, especially at the football and basketball games.
Yeah, not for no reason.
Right. You don't want to just be. You don't want to be at the dining hall just yelling that.
It gets pretty rowdy. It gets pretty rowdy. Trust me.
I do. I trust you. So it's a pretty crazy campus, huh?
It depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially spring weekend, all the cops come and they shut down the campus. We can't bring anybody on campus though on spring weekend, but it just
why? What happens?
Because sometimes they go out drinking and like they just they can get in big trouble for that.
Do you go out drinking?
Sometimes with my friends usually, but you gotta be smart about it.
What's your drink of choice?
It's a hard choice, but probably Bud Light.
You know what my favorite is?
What?
Heroin.
I thought Tito Sammy vodka was your favorite.
That's a good one.
That is good.
You gotcha.
That's just my live read. I just said that's a commercial I read. By the way, Chip, I don't know whether this is going to make the air. He says that these people do anything that he says. They'll go out and buy it. Trust him. They're idiots who just follow along and do whatever he says. I don't know what he said. The mic was off during that, but I wasn't sure. All right, we got to wrap this up and go to
George Schlatter Unmasked.
Yeah.
George Schlatter, he's the creator of Laugh-In. It's the 50th anniversary of Laugh-In. Time Life is releasing the entire series in a box set. Go to timelife.com/Laugh-In to purchase it. And Talib Bab's been in studio. Talib's performing Monday.
Take your time so we can understand you.
Talib Bab's been in studio. Talib's performing Monday, July 3rd at Caroline's Comedy Club. You go to carolines.com for tickets and on Twitter at Talib Bab.
Talib, we're going to have you back in again soon. I know it took a while with Chris Stanley to run through this stuff, but you're here permanently in New York, right?
Yeah, man. I'm here.
What part of town you living in?
I live in Brooklyn, Crown Heights.
Like everybody else lives in Brooklyn.
Man. I had to go ungentrify it a little bit. You know?
Yeah, taking it back.
Do my part.
Yeah. Who ever saw the flow of white people disrupting a city? We never saw that coming. We never thought that white people would come in and slowly ruin stuff for everybody else. But it's happening. I guess I've lived long enough now.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel.
The Indians, it just feels like the other day, Indians were taking away the stuff.
It does.
Had their stuff taken.
It feels like we were in teepees, doesn't it, Chris?
Exactly.
All right, you can win this sign, laugh and stuff. George Schlatter next. And this is Bennington. Time Life will be releasing the complete box set of Laugh-In for the 50th anniversary show. That's June 15th. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Now, wait a minute. These people are too young to remember Laugh-In.
These people are too young to remember Laugh-In, but their lives have been affected by Laugh-In because it changed television.
A lot, yeah. Yeah, it did. And some of it for the better.
Some of it for the better, yeah. But how does it feel to look back and know something that you created 50 years ago still has that impact?
It looks good. I'm just glad I'm still here and I can make sentences longer than That's an improvement, isn't it? Chubby old guy that goes
How did this idea first come together? Because it would still even be a bizarre, different kind of show if it came out today. But back then, it had to just shock people.
Have you seen that 6-minute reel?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's amazing.
Blow you away what we said.
Yeah.
Out of my own minimal attention span, that helped. And I grew up around comedians and so forth. And what happened was NBC was doing... This is a long thing, but NBC was doing the Grammy Awards before it was the Grammy Awards. It was called the Best on Record, and it was not the legit thing that it is now. They didn't even have the awards made till we got the money from the television show. So I'd done 5 of them, and we would literally give an award to anybody who'd show up. And so, NBC said they wanted to do some more. I said, I don't want to do that anymore. So I said, all right, I will do that show one more year if you'll let me do one show my way with no interference. So they said yes, not meaning it, but that's what they said yes. So we showed up with this group of dropouts. None of them were known. I mean, Dan and Dick did a great nightclub act, but the rest of them, nobody had ever heard of them. So we showed up and we started taping. And we just started taping bits and pieces, and then the editing techniques you have now didn't exist then, so we had to edit it all, physically splice it. And a woman by the name of Carolyn Raskin, who was brilliant, came in and started editing this together. And the first cut, the network said, there's no way. This is not a television show. We can't air this. And I said, okay. They said, you must slow it down. So I said, okay. We took out another 3 minutes. And they had nothing to put on the air after the Miss America contest. And so they put this on desperate because it didn't cost anything. And they put it on the air, and it didn't do anything because nobody knew anybody. But it did create kind of a stir. And then they wanted a show to go on. They had nothing to put on opposite Lucille Ball and Gunsmoke, which was number 1 and 2. And so they said, why don't we put this show on? It won't cost anything and until we can get a real show ready. So I said, fine. And then we started doing it, and nobody paid any attention to it because it was obviously a throwaway. That's why the first season was only 14 shows long, because they hadn't gotten the replacement ready yet. So it went on, and about the 4th or 5th show, Sammy came on and did Here Come the Judge. And by then it had gotten an audience, and the day after Sammy did Here Come the Judge, the Supreme Court judges came into chambers, and somebody in the back of the room said, "Here come the judge." And the whole place cracked up. It was the only laugh the Supreme Court had gotten since, Hoover. And they were, what the hell is it? And that's when it took off. And it just built and built and built. And then we found some of those people who were just gold.
Well, when you say that it was that catchphrase that first caught on, like, by the next day, where did that even come from? I mean, who...
Here Come the Judge was done by a comic by the name of Pigmeat Markham, who I had seen in East St. Louis. And he did the judge. And he had a sidekick named Sparky, and he would do Here Come the Judge, and he would do these judge bits. And Sammy came in and remembered it, and then that's what we did.
Because Sammy was working on, I guess, the same Shetland tour or whatever. That.
Well, no, Sammy was a young friend of mine when he first started out, and he came by just to say hello, and we started doing these. See, laughing was an accident, and whenever you look at an accident, realize that it may be the best thing ever happened to you, which was laughing, you know. And so Sammy came by, and we did that stuff in the middle of the night in the hall, and then put it on the air right away. And same as Judy Carn doing Sock It To Me. Did you ever hear of Ernie Kovacs?
Sure, one of the best of all time.
My wife did the Ernie Kovacs show, and she was the girl in the tub and all of that. And so we started. Jolene, the whole thing about Sock It To Me was in the Aretha Franklin record, right? And Jolene said, well, why don't you do a Sock It To Me thing? I said, Jolene, you can't say that on the air. It had a mild sexual. And my baby, Maria, was a little girl at the back of the car, said, Sock It To Me, Sock It. I said, whoa, wait a minute. And so they said, well, we couldn't do Sock It To Me because it had a mild sexual connotation. I said, well, we'll hit her with a bucket of water. So that's now you understand today if you said we're going to do this thing and we're going to hit a woman with a bucket of water, they'd throw your ass out, you know. I mean, but at that point nobody was watching us, you know, and so we did Sock It To Me and got hit with a bucket of water, and then it just grew from there.
But the fact that you came on and just did these really quick things, there was no segues. A lot of the bits, people went, I don't even know what that meant, but it's funny.
Good. That was the point was. No, not everybody got every joke,
right?
But somebody got every joke, and that was it. And they made me promise to slow it down. So my only thing is, I guess some of you people are going to be in the show business, right? Fight for whatever you want to do, and learn to lie.
There's the greatest pitch idea ever. Lie to them. Yeah.
That's what you want? It's exactly what I want to do.
So that's, you as a producer, it's still mysterious to people what producers do, because I think every producer works differently, right?
Me too. Producers say, I want more money, and she looks good to me. I don't know what producers are. I don't know, but they came in. We did one thing. This is too long. I was doing Jonathan Winter's first special with Art Carney. And we were going to do Muddy Frickard. Did you ever hear Muddy Frickard? Yeah. Hi, boys and girls. It was Jonathan dressed up as a little old lady. And we are going to celebrate her 100th birthday. And Art Carney did Norton and so we had her 100th birthday, and we read the script, and it was great. And we left the reading, and we found out Kennedy had been shot. And so everybody went to a different bar. Art went to a bar. Jonathan Winters went to another bar. I even went to a place. And so the next time we got together was a week later when we were supposed to tape the show. And we hadn't even discussed the show since this reading. And so we get there, and we start taping Muddy Friggin. Oh, he touched my little body. Jonathan, no, stop. Art, leave her alone. Okay, so now, I said, this is the zoo. We don't have a show here, and I have to deliver this thing in 2 days. So I said, okay, round up every prop in the building and give me 4 tables and put the props on the table and let them just do prop jokes. So they said, what are you going to do with that? I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I have to get paid in 2 days. I'm going to do something with it. So we do this. Now, Art Carney and Jonathan, still with hangovers from the Kennedy assassination, started doing these prop jokes. And it was funny. The crew laughed and everybody. So the next morning I meet Dwight Hamill, one of the best directors in the world. He said, what the hell are you going to do with it? I said, Dwight, I don't know, but look like we know what we're doing. So we went in and just cut jokes, And he said, George, this is not a television show. I said, no, this is a check to pay me for a television. So the next day, Mike Danis, head of CBS, said, I want to see the show. He said, I hear you guys had a good time. Oh, yeah, we had a good time. He said, let me see. So we run this 1 hour of just outtakes, literally outtakes. And Mike, everybody laughed like hell. And he said, well, that's good. What's the show? I said, that's the show. They said, that's not a show. I said, yeah, that's the show. I said, you mean you haven't heard? This is the biggest thing in Europe. It's called Comedy Verte. I made it up in the meeting. And he said, Erwin, do you know about Comedy Verte? Now, Erwin says, oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Schmuck. He didn't know what it was. And so they said, well, you have to slow it down. I said, okay, we will. I took out some more time, and that's what went on the air. And we won a TV Guide Award for it. But that became the editing technique for Laughing. It's a long story, I'm sorry.
Well, that's interesting that you would say it became the editing technique because comedically, you need that editor on television. If it's in a nightclub, the guy's working on his timing forever, but you really need a smart editor to understand comedy.
Woman's name was Carolyn Raskin. And, of course, nothing had ever been cut that way before, you know. I mean, we didn't even have the Avid. We didn't have that. We had to cut everything physically spliced Kinney to match, you know, our cuts, and then we had to transfer that to 2-inch. So it was all new technique. You know, a woman by the name of Carolyn Raskin, brilliant lady, did the editing.
And she edited through the whole
thing.
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
After that, and then she became the producer. And Dan and Dick did not like the idea of having a woman producer, which I adored. I thought that was great, you know, because it was a great place to hide. and women were a big part of the success of Laughing.
Sure.
When you think of Judy Carn and Goldie and Lily and Ruth and Joanne, they were the driving force. The jokes are in threes. There's a joke, then there's a topper, then there's the topper. And when you gave the woman the first and the third joke, and the cameos got the middle joke, the cameos were happy, but the women were the ones that scored, and that's why Judy Carn and all of them took off. I'm not smart enough to have figured that out in front. I figured it out much later because it made me sound really smart.
But I think it's very interesting that you had worked with Winters, and then your wife was with Ernie Kovacs, and both those things were somewhere stewing for you. Like there's something new.
Big effect on me.
Yeah.
Big effect. And Ernie loved Jolene, and Ernie never did punchlines. You know, it was just weird stuff. And so I said, Ernie, you got to do punchlines. He says, no, I don't. So I was doing Laughing, which was all punchlines, and he was doing Jolene in a tub, you know.
Yeah.
And so he called me one day and he said, come over to the studio. I said, I can't now, Ernie. And he says, you must come over right away. And I went over to ABC, and it had a raised stage built up and a car on it. And Ernie was doing a commercial, hit the car, and the car went through the floor. He said, now, is that a punchline? I said, oh, yeah. That's, that's a punchline.
Seriously, to anyone young, if you go to some of these are on YouTube with Ernie Kovacs, and visually some of the most stunning things I think have ever been on TV.
That was Laughing. I'll tell you what I did that I'm almost as proud of. It maybe had more of an effect on television than Laughing was Real People.
Yes.
Because Real People was another accident, right? They didn't have anything to put on the air, and they called me up, and I said, yeah, give me 6 shows. That takes a lot of guts, you know. I need 6 shows. So, and we did that, and it was the first show that celebrated the unknown, the eccentric, the forgotten person. And it wouldn't go, those stories had been on network television, but only in a minute. And those stories you couldn't tell in that length. So we developed the editing and the field equipment and so forth to do Real People. And now today reality television is the outgrowth of the Real People show. And that show maybe had as much effect as...
Absolutely. It was a gigantic show. And again, another show that you did that people hadn't done those kind of shows before. When I look at Laughing, it's always amazing to me that I don't know anyone who's ever else have done this. It's a variety show without music. There's no band to break up the humor. Every other show does that.
Yeah. One of the first guests was Cher, who I knew, Sonny and Cher. So she came in to do the show, and she read through the script, which was all jokes. I made it a point, no music. And so Cher came in. She had a great time. And Sonny's sitting over there, you know. And Sonny says, George, where's the song? I said, what? He said, the song. He didn't know there weren't going to be any songs. So I said, oh, the songs. Billy Barnes wrote our special material. He was a genius. I said, oh, Billy, come here. Where's Cher's song? Oh, Billy looked like I slapped him. We just spent 6 weeks. There's not going to be anything. I said, you know, and where it came from, I don't know. I said, you know the Mountie number. And Billy said, the Mountie number. I said, you know, with Tim Conway, I said, you're going to love this. Tim Conway's a Mountie and Cher's an Indian, and he takes his hat off and gets the strap caught under his nose. And Billy gets in the room. He says, George, that's not a song. That's a joke. I said, I don't do songs. I do jokes. I do jokes. You do songs. A song, Mountie number, right? So in 10 minutes, Billy came in with the Mountie number, and Sonny and Cher hired him to do more. They thought the Mountie number was a great idea. But we didn't do any legitimate music.
Never, yeah.
No, we tried to. First of all, music rights cost you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we didn't have any money on Real People. Real People was not a prime, great, let's go get this show. No, it was just put in something, because out of desperation. I mean, because we didn't have some of the great comedy that you have today. We didn't have Donald Trump. We didn't have Roger Ailes. Is Roger Ailes really dead?
Yes, today, as a matter of fact. Yes.
No, I did not mean that. We can cut that, right? And when you think about that, Fox, this citadel of taste and dignity and whatever, right? You got Roger Ailes, you got Bill O'Reilly. I rest my case, right? And I've got my eye on Sean Hannity. I wouldn't test him around my kids,
Well,
can you use any of this?
Yes. Now, Roger Ailes was actually, I think, working for Nixon at the time that you brought him into Laugh-In, which was a game changer.
Yeah, it was for me, and they said that elected him.
Yeah.
I've had to live with that.
Yeah.
But whoever thought that a person would come along later that made Richard Nixon look like a church choir boy? He's gained 20 pounds. Every night he has vanilla ice cream for dessert. I check up on all of this stuff because I want to know, when he goes like this, I want to know why. So, I'm sure that none of this is... you're going to get fired.
Yes. Yes, this will be my story. This will be my ending story. How it all...
The title of my book is "It Wasn't All My Fault," and it's my first book. Next year, I'm going to read another one. No, it's an old joke. Sorry.
Well, let's go back to Nixon because that actually shocked the country. There was some people who were like, "Is this an impressionist? Is this this guy's amazing?" But it's Richard Nixon. And how did you get him to agree to do this?
Paul Keyes was the closest man to Richard Nixon, which is, I didn't want to be there. But anyhow, we needed something to do in that second season that would be, So I said, Paul, why don't we get Nixon? Get him for me too. But anyway, so he took me over to CBS where he was doing a press conference. And Paul Keyes was his very close friend. He said, would you just come and say that? And it took 6 takes to get it. He's sock it to me. No, Mr. Nixon, if you could just kind of smile and say, sock it to me. Yes, his comedy's new for me. Take 2, And so we did 6 takes, raced back to NBC and put it in the show, and it went on the air while they were still trying to stop it because at that point there was an equal time provision. And so we offered Humphrey the same 6 seconds, and he, of course, turned it down. I chased Humphrey all over the country, nice guy. And it went on the air. I can't. After the show aired, the phone rang, and I said, hello. I said, Paul Keyes. I said, who's calling? They said, the president. I said, yeah, and this is Petula Clark right here. So I said, Paul. He said, what? I said, some guy on the phone says, the president wants you. And Paul gets on the phone. He says, it is the president. I said, oh, my God. So he says, talk to the president. I don't want to talk to the president. Because I didn't like him on spec, So I get on. I said, well, hello. He said, well, hello, George. I said, congratulations, Mr. President. He said, tell me, George. Can I say this? Yes. He says, tell me, George, is Crazy Fucking George your God-given name? And I said, yeah, that's my God, all right. So we then elected him. And I chased Humphrey all over the country, and he wouldn't do it.
Keyes was a writer for you, right? That's how this
Paul
came.
Keyes, yeah.
And it's still...
He was to the right of right.
Yes.
He had no left hand, yeah.
And that's still pretty rare in comedy writing, right? To be that conservative, as he was.
Well, there's not a lot funny on that side, you know? I mean, well, there is for me, but... but... yeah, I mean, no, there's this right-wing humor. We got, I chased after William Buckley, right, to do Laugh-In. And he was a very, very funny man. And finally, the way I got him, I said, I asked him to come to California, and I promised to fly him out on a plane with 2 right wings. And he said he would do it then. But we presented a lot. We presented Barry Goldwater, Dr. Billy Graham. Billy Graham came on the show and he said, the family that watches Laughing Together really must pray together. And we put that on the air. We wound up good chums, So
John Wayne?
John, the Duke. Mm. Yeah.
So when you were putting Laughing Together, were you thinking writers first or performers first?
I was thinking job first.
Yeah.
They had nothing. I knew they had nothing to put opposite Lucy, and Lucy was a friend of mine who was very upset every week when we'd say goodnight, Lucy. She said, "You're making fun of me." But it was the writers were not normal sitcom writers. They were not documentary writers. They were mostly, one was the professor of political science in Bemidji, Wisconsin, not where you'd go to find a comedy writer. The one was Digby Wolfe, who was a Brit and
Yes.
worked with Peter Sellers and the Goon Show and so forth. And the rest of them were people who just I had known and I picked up in saloons and places, and they came in with, there was no job for them because they weren't writing what was being accepted at that point. Nobody was looking for that. So they came in, and then the idea of just these little pieces with no beginning, middle, or just the joke was a new form. And
But coming from all these different sources, like you said, bringing Digby over, who had done those amazing shows. So you've got this kind of A-team of writers that isn't being used in other Hollywood shows. And then you go out and find these unknowns. Where did you find, let's say, Goldie, for instance?
Well, Goldie was a dancer, and she'd been on the Andy Griffith Show, and she was dancing in this line of girls. And Carolyn Raskin again came upstairs and said, "There's a girl down there. Everybody's looking. You got to see." I said, "What'd she do?" She's a dancer. I said, "I'm not using dancers." He said, "Look at this girl." So I go down, and here is this cherub, this adorable child. And she came from a meeting and just sat in this big, huge chair we had sitting there. And she just sat there. And I said, "What do you want me to do?" She's not a comic, not a... I said, "Well, sitting there so far is pretty good." And so then we brought her in, and she would not look in the camera. Whoever talked to her, she'd look at them. And I said, "Goldie, you got to look in the camera." "Oh, okay, giggle." So now we finally decided the only way to get her face is to have her introduce Dan Rowan, because then she had to do this into camera. We had the cue cards there. And so she introduced Dan Rowan and made a mistake. And she thought that was funny, and she laughed, and everybody laughed. And this director says, "A cut." I said, "Never, ever cut this woman again. I'll kill you." So we did it again, and she blew it again, and the director said, "Guys, I told you never say cut." So we took the same cards, and we inverted all of the words to be sure she'd screw it up again. Right? Little pain in the ass read the wrong words and read them in the right thing. I said, "Wait a minute, what is this?" From then on, we never let Goldie rehearse.
Never. Just go in and be herself.
That's it. That's it. And we would do all kinds of rude noises, anything to get Goldie's attention. And the other one that was Lily. Lily came in.
Yeah. Amazing.
Was,
amazing talent. But Goldie, almost immediately became a star, right?
The first time she walked on stage, you knew there was something special there. First of all, she had... You're not allowed to talk about that. And she had an all of a sudden ass. It was like there, and it was almost like God forgot to put that body part. And now her daughter, if you look at her daughter from the side, it's the same butt. It's the same.
Yeah.
I think God only made 2 of those outside of the ghetto. You see, and I still think. There may have been an ethnic type in the fuel supply. I mean, and they all were. I mean, Judy and Goldie and Ruth and Joanne and Chelsea and Teresa. Women were the driving force behind Laughing. They really were. They were the woman that edited it, the woman that shot it, and those girls. And
so when this...
Then we're afraid of those women.
Yeah.
When Don Rickles would absolutely shake in terror when he was on stage and here came Joanne. Joanne was like a storm cloud, and he was terrified of her.
That's so funny. Now, that came together. All of a sudden, these young people... And it's a giant hit show on numbers that we don't even have come close to today.
We often got a 50 share.
50 share.
That's, when you think of today, they pray to get a 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got half the country watching you
Yes,
at any
yes.
given moment. These people are suddenly giant celebrities. How does that change that feeling that the show had when it was underground a little bit?
Well, it didn't. They all had been around for a while. There were none of them kids, and they realized the enormity of the hit, and they all got outside things to do. And Judy occasionally would imbibe or use some kind of artificial stimulants, and she wanted to get out because she could do the Sullivan Show and all of that stuff. So she came to me and said, she didn't feel well, so could she get out? And unfortunately for me, I had just seen Lily Tomlin. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we started using Lily, and Lily just exploded.
Again, right from the start, as soon as she came out. Yeah.
You knew right away,
Yeah.
because you knew this was not a normal Joan Rivers, Phyllis Diller kind of comic. You knew this was a very special person. And they all were. And the thing was, they had so much fun doing it, and we allowed them to do other things. Then they forgave us for not paying them anything, but they were just delightful people, and we would tape all night long. We'd tape till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
You just let it go and whatever, and then edit it
they
together.
called me. They called me and asked me. They wanted to do a show of our outtakes, and I said, "You don't understand, Sparky. We use the outtakes. You think I have a closet full of Goldie Hawn mistakes? You schmuck? The show was an outtake. That's what Gary Owens was there for. When we'd do a sketch and it wasn't working, Gary would say, and later that same evening, and we would cut 10 minutes of drivel out,
And Gary was a guy, you didn't audition him, you had heard him and knew him in the club?
Gary.
Yeah.
I'm in the men's room of the smokehouse one day, and I'm standing there facing the wall, and Gary comes in. He says, "Hi, George." I said, "Well," he said, "My, the acoustics in here are one." I said, "Whoa, say that again." He said, "What? Say what?" I said, "Later that same evening. That's what I want you to do." He said, "You want me to stand in the men's room and say later that same evening?" I said, "That's a way to get all the junk out. That Rowan and Martin's talk would just go on and on and on. But Gary Owens coming in and saying later that same evening in another part of town, and we'd cut to the cocktail party." That was what Gary would come every week with the craziest stuff ever. I loved him. He was the straightest member of the cast.
The straightest member, but also very
the
bizarre.
kinkiest. his sense of humor. And Artie was selling clothes and carols, and Henry Gibson was doing, God only knows what Henry was doing. Alan Seuss, I don't know. Alan Seuss was working the boulevard. I don't know what the hell he was. I don't know. And they said, is he a I said, what? I said, "Are you kidding?" What? No, they're kidding. I said, he's a sissy.
Yeah.
And Alan Seuss got by with murder.
Yeah.
And they all were super talented, and strangely enough, didn't have a home anywhere else. This was the only show looking for those people.
Right. But your management style, I mean, here you are the producer, you're letting this thing run on and then edit, and then you're also letting these young people spread their wings and, go and do other things. Most producers you think of, they try to hold on tight.
Yeah.
That wasn't you, though, at all.
No, you let them. I mean, Goldie, I let Goldie out of her contract to do that movie with Walter Matthau, and everybody was always very upset with me. And I said, "You cannot put that smoke in a bottle. You can't keep it. You got to let her fly." And we're still very, very good friends. And but the same thing with Lily. Lily went out on concert tour and did all of that, and they all did. And the loose leash was held them, and the fact we were very, very, don't ever discount luck. Accident and luck. I wouldn't be here. You'd be talking to somebody else if it wasn't for accident and luck.
But then you have to know what to do with that accident and luck, and that's where your skills.
No, I didn't know what to do.
Okay, it's just
that was part of the magic. This
Yeah.
big fat schmuck did not know what to do with these people, so we let them come in and do what they wanted to do, and then we would edit out. We cut away everything that wasn't laugh-in, and we would tape, 2:00 in the morning, and we would tape, 3 hours of material to get that 48 minutes. And but it was gold. And you ought to see this. We just put together 6. You saw the 6 minutes.
Yes, it's unbelievable. It's really, really great. And this is all for the 50th anniversary of the show, June 15th. The box set is coming out. And again, when you think 50 years, and here we are at Sirius XM where there's all these stars coming
Well,
in.
this is marvelous what
Yeah.
these people do.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think if Goldie or Lily walked in here right now, they'd be the biggest stars in the place. And that Goldie was here just a few weeks ago to promote the movie that
Yeah.
she's doing with Amy Schumer. The place went crazy.
Yes,
Everybody
yes, yes.
talked about Goldie. And this is a long time to hold that kind of stardom.
Yeah, well, she's a delight anyhow, and so is Lily. And by the way, did Sarah Purcell ever get in here?
No, I haven't had a chance.
Well, do because that Real People, Sarah Purcell came in and she was like had done the weather and with Regis Philbin. Now that's not a great credential, you know.
On that show, Byron Allen too was a kid, right? When he
Byron Allen was. I saw Byron Allen on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And I said that we have no black and we have no children, no young. So I said, let's bring Byron Allen. And he came in, he never really auditioned. We just hired him to do the show. And we sent him out on to do a Real People story. I loved Real People, you understand, because we could, everything. You didn't have to book people by name. You just found somebody that was, the Tuskegee Airmen had never been even celebrated. The Navajo Code Talkers, there was no place on television to see the Navajo Code Talkers, so that story had never been told. So when we did the story, we said, if you believe as we do that they should receive a Congressional Medal of Honor, do what we did. We called the White House. Well, the next day the White House called and said, what, are you crazy? We jammed up all the phones. So Real People was like that with Sarah, you know, and so, well, there's stuff you can't really. But I'm as proud of Real People as any show I didn't. But that's also coming out on Amazon.
Is that right?
And you look at those things and you realize we were the first show to really celebrate the military, and now it's about time, you know. Because you do know that this man's going to get us in a war. The only thing he can do to save his ass is to get a war. Every president has to have a war. Even Ronald Reagan had Grenada. We attacked Grenada and fought Boy Scouts, but he had to have a war in order to be the commander in chief. Well, this nut job. I mean, seriously, am I upsetting anyone? Are there any real Trump fans?
This is New York City, so we've known him for a long time.
What the hell is he doing? I mean, well, first of all, he's gaining a lot of weight. That makes me feel good. You do know now this. I know nothing I say here will ever get out. Right?
It's just us.
There is a rumor that my friend Mr. Cosby spent a lot of time at the Playboy Mansion, and his companion often was Donald Trump. Now, when that gets in there, because I said to Bill, I'm not going to do this show anymore. The kids up there are 17 years old. We're all going to go to jail. And Bill kept going up and going up, you know. And as we know, it became, And but with him, the rumor is that Donald Trump was often up there, and it was like 17 years old, just past the cutoff.
Past. Yes, it is. No. But there was a time that you also hung out at the.
Not with 17-year-olds.
Not with 17.
Oh, okay.
19.
19, and I want to see a birth certificate. I don't want to live rent free. But Byron Allen, you asked me about Byron Allen.
Well, yes, just because my point is that you have this amazing eye to find people first.
You call it luck, yeah.
Yeah, luck. But when you're lucky over and over and over, something has to be working.
Byron Allen, we hired Byron Allen. We sent him out on the road. And we had an ex-Green Beret, Bob Long. Hi, Chief, right? He killed people in Vietnam, and he was, an ex-Green Beret. So we sent him out with Byron Allen, figuring that would be a way to get Byron used to it. So Byron, he called me up. Bob Long called, hello, Chief. Bob Long here. We're going to kill him. I said, what's he mad about? He says he won't get out of the car until we're ready to shoot. He wants them to carry his bag, and his mother is trying to sell the Byron Allen line of T-shirts. And I said, you're putting me on. So I call up Byron. I said, Byron, I want you to come in and see me. He says, well, I'm a little busy. I said, you now. So Byron comes in, and I said, Byron, let me explain something to you. half the world hates you because you're young. The other half of the world hates you because you're black. I hate you because you're stupid. So I said, let's lean on the black and forget the stupid. And, I mean, the Osmonds are more soulful than Byron Allen was. You know? But we did need it, and it did work. And so...
But again, that's that eye you had. Like, I think one of the interesting things about Laugh-In is that Rowan and Martin were not really part of the generation that you were selling the show to. How did that work?
It was not part of the original concept. The show was designed to not have a host, to just have people appear, right? And Timex, to buy it, wanted to have a host. And I'd worked with Dan and Dick in Vegas. And so they came in and they seemed to interfere less. They were older and they wore tuxedos and they would take us into different things. And Dan was a pretty conservative guy. After I left the show, they went out and campaigned for Nixon. But and Dick was, not brain dead. He was stumbling, So anyway, it was again, it was luck. We had to have a host, and we were going to do it right away. So Rowan and Martin came in wearing tuxedos and didn't really believe in it. Nobody believed in it because this was, who are these people? And what are you doing? You're doing jokes about what? And at that point, you remember, there wasn't, it didn't exist. The political satire didn't exist. Lenny Bruce did some, but so we did it really out of desperation because they had to have something to put on the air. I needed a job, and so here they came.
But, they come out and they're in tuxedos and they're talking and immediately walk into that cocktail party.
Yeah.
And somehow that makes sense.
It did, in the tuxedos, and they were all dressed in the cocktail party. The cocktail party also was a place where I could bring all these outcast friends of mine by, and they would come over and imbibe in a few artificial stimulants and stand around and talk to Judy.
Yeah.
But the show was not taped like a show.
Yeah.
The show was just taped in bits and pieces. But as was Real People. Real People, we're releasing Real People on Amazon too. And I was really, really proud of that show. And the stuff that we did that nobody had ever touched before, and the military stories we did. He now wants to rebuild our military. We have so many bombers. We have so many. We are building. If we put the money into cancer research that we're putting into this twice the speed of sound fighter plane, it doesn't have an enemy. And who's it going to fight? It goes like that, and they're gone. We're spending billions of dollars on a plane that doesn't have an enemy. And they said, "What was that?" That was the and we're going to rebuild our military. We already have enough weapons and ammunition and planes and guns and people to wipe out the entire world 3 times. You don't have to wipe out the entire world. Just get rid of him.
George, you sound like a guy who's ready to produce a show about this. Have you?
I sound like a guy that if this airs, I'll go to jail. How would you like to have the possibility of this airing and know that I'd be up for a tax rap? Please don't air this.
Well, we don't know because he might beat you to jail right now the way things are going, right? There's a special
I had hoped for a little better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, are we serious? This man never had a real job. He doesn't. He's going to eat Wyoming. This guy is gaining more weight. He makes me look like a jockey, this guy. And now here's the part that'll scare the out of you, is he's going to go to the Vatican. Now, I happen to like this Pope. I think he's a pretty good guy. I guess you call a Pope a good guy, but I like him. And maybe he can straighten Trump out.
You think? Well, yeah. Now, we're talking
Can you use any of this?
No. This is just for the people in this room right now, George. This will be... I'll get somebody will come by, throw me in the back of a car, and that'll be the end of it. I'll be gone.
We don't do jokes about people in the back of cars. my background, having spent a lot of time in Vegas, we leave the back of the car alone. Nobody gets in there. What did they say? You put your dog and your wife in the trunk of the car and keep them there for 8 hours, and whichever one gets out first, they're happy to see you. That's the dog. Right?
Well, you were in Vegas during the real Rat Pack days, right? That was an amazing.
Yeah.
And you knew Frank? You knew Frank?
Very well, very well.
That, this is an amazing life when we start to talk about it, George, when you start to think about these things.
I had more laughs with him. Oh, I did commercials with Frank, which I didn't want to do. They called me up and they said, George, you got to do this commercial. I said, I don't do commercials. They said, please, Frank wants to do this, and you got to. I said, I don't want to do. Please, I don't. They said, just do this one. Have a meeting. So I go to this meeting. There's 30 people there, all Japanese. None of them spoke English. And they laid out this thing, and I said, how much time have you allowed for this? They said 4 days. 4 days for the commercial and 3 days for stills. And I looked at this thing, and I said, I think we're talking about 45 minutes. They said, what? He's getting $1 million. I said, I'm telling you, I know the man. I said, we will shoot what you've got here with a guy in a tuxedo that looks like Frank. When you get it just the way you want it, perfect, we'll bring in Frank and he'll duplicate that. So now these Japanese guys all learn to speak English real quick, right? So now bring in Frank, and Frank says, can I leave now? Frank, you just got here. So he goes in, puts on the rug, he puts on the tuxedo, he comes out, he says, are we almost finished? I said, we haven't started, Frank, please. So I'd set it up so you could shoot commercial stills, all the way around the studio until we got to the door and he could leave. So, okay, we're shooting this time, and it's perfect. He's done exactly right. Take, everything's great. We get just over to the door, and he says, well, that's it. He used to call me crazy. Oh, crazy, that's it. I said, no, Frank, it's one more shot. He says, no, I've had it. I said, Frank, I have to have this shot. He says, you're not going to get it. I said, Frank, this whole thing is on this one shot. He says, you do it. I said, no, Frank, they don't want me. You have to do this one. He says, forget it. So I said, don't make me hurt you. I don't know where it came from, but he looked at me like he'd been slayed. Would you hurt me if I don't get this take? I said, well, let's get this done. Get out of here. I don't want to get hurt. So he leaves, and it's exactly 45 minutes. And so everybody's just wringing wet. The Japanese spoke English like Shakespeare now. Right? And so now the thing won awards. And so they called him. They want to do another one. By now I'm getting a big number, too, And so I called up Frank. I said, Frank, they want to do another commercial. He says, okay, all right. But this time I don't want to have to hang around. That was my relationship with Mr. Sinatra. I loved him.
And you knew him and Sammy at the same time? And Dean and...
Yeah, and Dean, it was something to survive that.
Yeah, and that was all in Vegas, or
no? Well, Sammy I'd met before Vegas. I met him when I worked at Ciro's, and it was the Will Maston Trio. Then it was the Will Maston Trio with Sammy Davis. Then it was the Will Maston Trio featuring Sammy, and eventually it became Sammy Davis. And Sammy was just the single most talented person ever. And we did that special with him. It's one of the best things I ever did, other than real people and laughing. We did his 60th birthday, and he was by then he was very frail and he had throat cancer. And our doctors, I said, I'm going to do this show now. You're going to get him there. And I said, Sammy, you're going to be there, aren't you? Don't send me out to make an announcement, So he said he'd be there, and so we did that show.
And you got everybody to show up for that show. That was amazing.
Once they found out, then everybody showed up, and it was, it was, oh God, Michael Jackson came in and did a song he'd never done before, and it was Sammy. And my favorite part of that was Greg Hines, who was with Hines and Dad. And Greg Hines came out, and I said, Greg, when you get through, I put his shoes under the chair. Give him the shoes, and he'll get up. He says, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, why? He said he doesn't want to get up. I said, he's been up 4 times bowing. Give him the shoes. He said, no, I don't want to do that. And so I said, all right. So now he does his number, and he starts to go off, and he looks over and sees me, and I'm going like this. He goes back, gives Sammy this. I don't know whether you saw this. And
yes.
He goes over and gives Sammy the shoes, and Sammy gets up, and the audience, of course, when they see the shoes, goes crazy. And they come up, and Greg Hines looks at Sammy, and he said, you want to do a little shine on your shoes? And Sammy, in a voice you could barely hear, says, make it easy on yourself. And Sam danced, and it was the last time he danced. But I mean, the adventures I had with those people. I've lived a very charmed life.
It really is.
Well, somebody should have shot me years ago. And I'm just hoping I get out of here without any holes.
But that was such a great night of television because it was the tribute, and we had Sam, and you could see that he was weak. But at the time, it reminds you, oh, I've grown up with this guy. I've seen him forever. We love him. And then that night comes together with people coming out. I mean, it was stunning. It was stunning.
It was stunning. It was, and nobody said no. It was amazing. But that was one of the high points of my life. You know, it was a lot of luck involved. You know, because theoretically, Sammy was not supposed to still be alive at that point. You know, and he died shortly thereafter. And what a thrill that was.
Yeah, but here's Michael Jackson, who at the time is the biggest star in the world, and he's coming out on that stage, looking at Sam.
Again, luck. Sam,
Yeah.
Michael had said he'd do the show, but he'd done that commercial where he exploded and his hair caught on fire, and he was having plastic surgery on his head, and it was like rubber. Right? And Michael, I said, Michael, you told me you were going to be there. Yeah, okay. So we didn't have. Buzz Cohen had written a poem for Michael to do called "You Were There," and so Michael shows up, and it's like the night before the show, and he comes in a black limousine, right? It's an SUV. And he gets out, and we had a piano in the middle of that concert at the convention center. And Buzz Cohen and Michael and Glenn Roven sat down and wrote that song the night before he did it. And Sammy'd never performed it before. And he said, only for you.
That's amazing.
And he did. You were there. And Michael was also I went back with Michael and his children when he was just a baby. The Jackson 5 came in to do it, so I did with Cher.
Yeah.
And Cher's language, would melt the chrome off the tires. And the Jacksons were pretty straight, but anyway, this is as you're sitting listening to this, it must sound like a crazy person. And that's probably because I'm a little bit crazy. But I have had fun. If you can, whatever you do, if you can have fun doing it and learn to lie, you got it made.
Well, I think that's the thing about your career, though, because you're a producer and you produce variety and specials. It gives you the chance to work with everybody.
Yes, yes.
If you look at some people, I worked for 18 years on this one show, but I
was lucky to last 18 weeks.
Yeah, right. And that's one of the interesting things is not only did you have these big successes, but some really interesting failures.
Big time failures.
Yeah. And some of them.
The shortest series ever on television. It was a commitment for 18 shows. It was canceled after the first 15 minutes. I rest my case.
Yeah. And that show was what?
Called Turn On, and it's in the Book of Records. It's in the Guinness World Book of Records. And it was just that it was a little too much too soon. It was too fast, and it was all no straight music. It was all synthesized music, and it was all multiple images, and they just never seen. Today, it's pretty commonplace, but at that point, different images and typos and graphics going across the screen all at the same time, and they weren't ready for it.
But that was a show that people were supposed to sit at home and get high and watch, or
well, you had to be high to tune in. It had replaced Peyton Place.
Yeah.
And the head of ABC was in Cleveland. I would love to get him in a closet. And he wanted to keep Peyton Place. So he called all of the affiliates while the show was going on in New York. Now, you understand, I had done one of these shows and shown it to Bristol Myers, who was the most conservative sponsor, but they loved it. It was Tim Conway, and it was fast, yes, but it wasn't dirty. It was just so electric, and so we we put the show on the air. He had called all of the affiliates. So as the show was airing across the country, they were canceling it one station at a time. By the time it had reached California, it was off the air. And it was called Turn On. Look it up. And it was the shortest series in the history of all of television. So I do hold that record.
There was another pilot that you shot, though, called Soul, which was, again, before its time, but...
Well, it was time. It was. Yeah. It seemed people said it was before its time, but what did they know? It was the first all-black variety show, and I got Red Fox, and NBC said, "You can't put Red Fox on the air." I said, "No, I'm not going to. I will tape everything, and I'll just use what we can air." And Red at that point had never been on network television because his act was pretty rough, and so we get Red, and Red comes in. And what do you want me to do? I said, just talk, Red. So he comes in. We did the first all-black show. It was the Wayans. It was the Red Fox and Slappy White. Slappy White was running was the first African-American. We didn't know this, say Negro, African-American, what. We didn't have a name, right? So anyhow, they came in, and it was great, man. It was really, really great. And the network looked at it and loved it. They ran it for the Watts Writers Workshop, and they thought they might have a riot because the reaction was so intense. And NBC would not air the series because they were afraid they could never cancel it. Now, you think we have all the idiots now? How about that?
Yeah. But this was like decades before In Living Color. Before.
Oh, yeah. Well, I gave away Keenan the tape, and I said, the Fly Girls, we had that on Soul. I said, run the show because it's going to happen. It cannot not happen. And it was just funny. And Slappy White was the first African American vice president. And then Red did a thing, which if you ever get a chance, did you see the Red Fox tribute to the head of the KKK? Red did a thing. What do I wish for the Grand Wizard? I wish for the Grand Wizard a 5-car accident with no survivors. He said, and the car catches on fire, burning the Grand Wizard up, and the fire hydrants froze over from Nome to Nova Scotia, and the Grand Wizard be in there frying. And he says, and the Grand Wizard gets burned up, and they put him down in the ground in a plain black wood coffin, and the hydrophobia-filled possums crawling around looking for something strange to eat, and the Grand Wizard be there, and may God strike the Grand Wizard in the heart with a bolt of lightning, and amen. If you get a chance, look at the Grand Wizard, Red Fox and the Grand Wizard. That caused a little problem.
Sure. Well, Red was another one of those guys like Pig Meat who was...
He was bored. I mean, Red, you couldn't air. Red's act was obscene.
Yes.
But when he found out how much money there was in being straight, he did his
Red show Fox became a big
hit.
But that was, he waited years, I guess, before they let him in the mainstream.
Well,
right?
no, that show kind of did it. They kind of said there is an audience for him.
Yeah.
And you can control him. Well, Red, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Red was a piece of work. Red's first, now I can't tell you this, but Red's first day on the set, he showed up in a red Maserati. The license plate said nigger. And I had Pearl Bailey, and Pearl Bailey said, Red, you can't do that. You can't. Red said, what's the matter, Big Mama? He said, I'm a nigger, you're a nigger, we're all niggers. And she said, no, Red. So I said, Red, stop it. And Pearl Bailey now goes through her dressing room. He says, look, Big Mama, he said, she said, Red, I go to Africa. I came back from Africa. I went into the villages, and I went into the grass huts. And I sat on the grass, on the mud floor, and we talked about love and peace. All right, now this is, Red says, listen here, Big Mama. There ain't no nigger living in a grass hut in Africa. Can't do shit for me, so Africa can kiss my dick. So now, Red, Pearl's gone again, right?
Yeah.
She said, Red, you have to get along with these people. She said, look, here's my cards. Here's my card to the White House. Here's my card to the FBI. Here's my card to the Congress. Here's my card to the Senate. And Red dropped a roll of $100 bills on the floor. He said, excuse me, Big Mama. He said, this will give me a hello at the front door where that bullshit will get you a big fat back ass past the kitchen.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I think that we've only scratched the surface here.
Unfortunately, it still itches.
But again, particularly for young people, because there's nothing, I think, nostalgic about what you're doing right now, looking back at Laugh-In, because it still plays today, and the box set is coming out for the 50th anniversary. That's June 5th, and also coming to Amazon is Real People.
Real People's going to pop your neck when you look at that and you realize we celebrated eccentrics that we'd hidden. And we celebrated the eccentrics where normally they were just pushed aside. And we did some really strange people, but some of them turned out to be heroes. We also did people like George Foreman.
Yeah.
We were doing the thing on the Olympics, and I said, whatever happened to George Foreman? Remember the thing when he got the Olympic thing? And so we found him. He was a preacher in Houston. So we brought him up and did the story of his story. And when they opened that hero door and he came through, the audience went crazy. And he said that's when he decided to make his comeback. And so we had a lot of effect. And they wound up with movies about the Tuskegee Airmen and about the Navajo Code Talkers and about Carl Brashear. We found these people who had uncelebrated accomplishments. And that was the heart of Real People. We did some wackos too, but the heart of Real People was those stories.
Well, your story is amazing too, George. It's amazing to have you
and
here
some
today.
of this is true.
Some of it is true. And the Secret Service is here to drive you back to your hotel, so I hope that works out. George Schlatter, everybody, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.